The Marcia Week Show. It's the Marcia Week Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Week Show. It's the Marcia Week Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Week Show. Talk truth, build roots, stories unfold. Motivate change, mobilize is the mode, that's the MR code. Hey, we growing, we know it.
Gentlemen, I am so excited about tonight's show. Guys, I'm holding in my hand the national flag of Barbados because that's where we're broadcasting from. And tonight you're watching the Marcia Week show where we do Emma. We educate, we mobilize, we motivate, and we agitate. It's all about Emma tonight as we ask the hard questions on health, migration. We're going to chat a little bit about air peace. We have Elevate, right? We're looking at the No Recipe Part 2. We're going to look at, but then we're going to have Michelle Daniel. She has a very special segment tonight for us on the Marcia Week show, where she is looking at the U.S. teen juvenile court system. Okay, so she's going to take a look at that tonight and compare to what happens here in Barbados. I think that is going to be quite interesting because we try to look at youth issues on Wednesday nights. All right. While I'm not at the studio, I'm not live in studio with guests, we're still going to take look at some of those issues. But come next week, those guys are going to be ready again, and we're going to be right back inside. Okay. Now, just quickly, let me just go through exactly all that we're going to talk about tonight. It's a great show. We're talking about migration, jobs, and opportunity. Are migrants being promised opportunities that don't exist? We examine the realities behind migration and employment in Barbados. And we have former Senator Andre Worrell is going to be joining us to deal with that. And we're going to look at exploitation in migration. And when we're talking about when does the migration become exploitation, we examine the human stories, concerns, and the hard questions. And for that, we have Maxine McLean, a former minister of Foreign Affairs, the correct person to deal with that topic tonight. So tonight we have Maxine McLean, we have former Senator Andre Worrell, and we have a diaspora, a dumpling from the diaspora. Remember that? We call them dumplings from the diaspora. Michelle Daniel is going to be with us on here tonight. And we are going to look at Elevate. You remember Elevate last week? We were looking at the no recipe. Who remember when the girls were baking, they were tackling a baking challenge without a recipe. Learning, teamwork, leadership, communication, problem solving, and even confidence building along the way. So tonight we are going to just take a quick look on what happened to the cake. What happened? I know Pedro said that the cake was put in the garbage. Oh my goodness. Somebody else said it burned. But we're going to look on exactly what happened to that cake. All right. But let me go quickly to the chat section and welcome Teroni. Hey, Teroni, welcome. Hey, Judy, welcome. Mavis. Hey, Carol, welcome. Marcia Miller, how are you doing, Marcia? Calendar, welcome. Welcome, Jacqueline. Welcome, Jacqueline. Jacqueline is going to be helping me in St. Philip. Not me, actually, helping us with the Elevate program in St. Philip, Bel Air, St. Philip. This is Bel Air, St. Philip. Jacqueline is going to be helping as a tutor. And so if you live in St. Philip, tomorrow is actually the first day of the classes there. So tomorrow is orientation at the Jones Village Christian Mission Church. And the computers were put in last night, thanks to one of you loyal opposition, Michelle Daniel, who donated those computers. And we were able to put them into, well, not we, Dave was able, and others were able to get them, set up at the church all ready for tomorrow. So tomorrow at 4:30, right there, Jones Village. It's Jones Village Christian Mission Church on Bel Air Road in St. Philip, the road that goes right up to Sam Lord's Castle. And that's what is going to happen starting. So listen, on this show, we talk about things and we do what we talk about. We're not politicians, okay? What you call politicians. All right, where they're just talking, and we are people of action. But that's who we are here on the Marcia Week Show. We are people of action. And we were discussing about learning and reading and our children, and out of that came Elevate. So we have Elevate, the youth program that is done on Wednesdays, but we also have Elevate in the communities of Barbados. On Saturday, the one in Bridgetown will start at Colamarock on Saturday. That's when that one starts, Saturday at 9 a.m. If you have a child, a young child, we're really focusing on our children. All right. So you have children who are not able to read properly. We have a reading system in place, and you can contact us 236-7000. No child should be left behind. There should be no child that who cannot read in Barbados unless they have a learning disability. If you agree with me, give me a thumbs up. We should eradicate illiteracy in Barbados. No child should not be able to read in this country. And that's what we want to be part of. That we are aware that others are doing, they're doing various things, and so initiatives, I needed to say. And but this is an initiative that came out of this show, the Marcia Week show, the Loyal Opposition, that it came out of that, from the citizens of Barbados. Okay. And this is happening in Bel Air. So we have on Thursday 4:30, Bel Air, St. Philip. We are going to be doing that remedial reading for children, and some mathematics support as well, basic computer training. And then in St. Michael, in Colamarock, we are going to have we're going to start there at 9 o'clock. Sunny is going to be the main instructor in on Saturdays in St. Michael. Okay. And that's all from greeting you. Hi, Sandra. Hey, Sherry. Sandra Pierce, how are things going? Did you get through? Lori Bob, Charmaine Taylor. I'm a big girl. Why did I pass Lori Bob that way? Because my mind is on Sandra, and she knows why. So I gotta go, Lori Bob. I missed it, Lori. I missed it. Andrea Critchlow, Shirley, Beverly Perska, Dalton, Margaret Pollard. Yes, I'm a big girl. Say Emma. Yes. Absolutely agree. No child should be illiterate in Barbados unless they have a learning disability. Every citizen, you owe it to Barrow's legacy. Every one of you who can read, everybody. I should have so many volunteers right now. I should have volunteers. I should have volunteers more than I have children, and I don't have them. I barely have any volunteers. Only Sunny alone in St. Michael. Myself and Jacqueline here in and one other person here in Bel Air, St. Philip. We should have more volunteers than we have people. Do you have a space in your community, whether it's a church, it could be on your veranda. You might want to start it on your veranda. You want to start it on your deck. You want to start it out in your garden. Put on some chairs and bring the children in. You want to start it under a coconut tree. You want to start it on a block. Who want to go start a learning elevate on a block? You want to start elevate on a block? Call us. And I'm sure the guys on the block would work with you. But we must stamp out illiteracy in Barbados. That has no place in this country. Do you know how many children I am being told? I didn't even know this existed. And we're going to go to Elevate in a minute. But I have to jump into this here. Take a minute and say this. Dave, you can get the Elevate video ready. But did you all know that there are children in Barbados that when they are ready to take their common entrance, that they have to have a reader? Are you aware of that? And these are not children with learning disability. I was speaking to a teacher, because sometimes when I come on here, some of you all think I make up these things, especially you from the government. You're watching and you're thinking that we're making these things up. But more often, it's happening too often, where children are going to take their exam, common entrance and CXC, and have to get a reader to read the questions. What on earth is that? What is that? Why are you even taking an exam? To go where? If you cannot read the questions. I never heard of that before. Anybody out there? We should have all of you. If you can spell cat and rat and bat, you can help a child read. Some of you out there are just lazy. You are too lazy, and some of you are selfish. You can read, and you can't sign up. You can give an hour Even if you say, Marcy, I can do it every month. Once a month, I will come. I can read to the children, sit down and read a book to them. I'm not going to let you all get off on that at all. I will continue to advocate and ask for volunteers. It's not going to take anything off of you in your community. Get up there and let us eradicate illiteracy. We can get involved this summer. They're letting the children out early from school. If you come on here and all you can do is criticize, and you cannot volunteer to read to children and help children to read, and you have time, some of you are retired. This is your country. This is not the legacy that Errol Barra left for us. Some of you, you love Errol Barra. Oh, Errol Barra help you to, well, come and help somebody else to read. Some of you can do better. Put some gas in the car and just drive a couple minutes, or hold. Why, if you go to your pastor and get an elevate in your church, just 1 hour a week. I'm telling you all off tonight because that's not, I don't like, you're not being very patriotic. I thought I would have gotten more of you signing up. It's not, these are our children, and they are going to become whatever we put in them is what we're going to see come out of them. What goes in is what is going to go out. That all of this is going to be part of stemming the issues we're having on the street with the crime and violence. Okay, the anti-gang legislation can only do so much, and not much the way they have it written. I tell you, nobody's coming to save us. So we have to get out there. I want you to be calling me. I want you to be calling me and saying, Marcia, let me tell you, I don't need any more volunteers right now. I'm not going to let you all get off on this. It's not, we need to stop. If you don't want to help, do not complain. Don't type anything more in the comment section. If you do not want to help, there's some of you, you have constraints and you can't help. But some of you, you can help. 1 hour a week or 1 hour a month. You can say, I could do it 2 times a month. Okay. Well, Dave, let's go to Elevate. We're going to look at this no recipe, Elevate no recipe. And this is part 2. All right, this is part 2. How many of you remember part 1 last week? Can anybody tell me just some of the things that, some of the principles that you believe that the young ladies learned through the Elevate No Recipe part 1 last week? Anybody? Okay, I'm not seeing Dave. Dave, are you there? Seem to have some challenges there. Teamwork. Thank you, Sharon. Hey, Sharon, thank you. Yes, let's go right. So what we're going to do right now, Dave, we're going to show the Elevate where the children were tasting the cake. Working as a team, what it means, working as a team, what that means. Yes. Yes, learning to work together. How many of you liked that episode? If you enjoy the children, Andrea said teamwork, patience, confidence, and learning from mistakes. Yes. Yes. What we're going to do, we're going to be packaging those segments. We're going to package those segments, and hopefully you can entice your children to watch them. Okay, we're going to yes, learning to adjust. Yes. Somebody said they love the children's segments. They need to see more. Okay, so Dave, just let us know. Let me know what's happening. If you're experiencing any difficulty, we're not seeing anything up on the screen. Okay, we got it. All right, so this is Elevate No Recipe Part 2. And I see former Senator Warren watching, he's a chef. People don't know this, He is a chef, y'all, and he is watching. And so he's gonna see this is their cake, Senator Warren, that they did this no recipe at all. 12 and 14-year-olds, all right? And so they're getting ready to taste it. Go right ahead, Dave. Yeah, I'm not sure what is happening there, but we're not hearing anything at all.
It's cutting.
It's like pumpkin bread.
Oh, it tastes like pumpkin bread, but it don't have any. So let's see the results of the no recipe cake. Kamoya, you want to come and take this out of here? No? Come, Kamoya, come, man, come.
So we have decided our taste tester is gonna be.
So what is Gracie saying?
So Amari is gonna be our taste tester just in case something went wrong.
All right, so hand give it to him.
Oh boy. So focus. So let's see what Kimari is gonna say.
You ready?
Yo.
Imagine you paid $10 for this and
$10.
Taste.
What is it? It's good for food.
It's good. Oh
that's the
wow.
milk that I put in.
Oh wow, girls, you did it. Woo! Okay, Zaida wasn't here, so Zaida is tasting. Oh, please.
It tastes good.
Zaida, tell the truth.
No, it tastes good, but it doesn't taste like cake.
You don't taste like
It
it?
tastes like cake.
What does it taste like?
A pancake.
It tastes like
It has a lot of.
Is it cinnamon or not, Megan?
Yeah.
Cinnamon.
Oh.
What it tastes like?
It tastes like some kind of. It tastes good, but it don't taste like cake for real.
Mm.
It's
It's
like
an original idea from you.
It's like a mixture between cheesecake and normal.
Right now.
So
Because it's not green.
See, look, you're not saying nothing to me.
I already tried it.
No, you didn't.
No, he did. Trey.
So Kamoya is cutting.
It's like pumpkin bread.
Oh, it tastes like pumpkin bread, but it don't
Like
have any
pumpkin
pumpkin.
bread. Like you know how pumpkin like it has a lot of like when they make pie or whatever they use a lot of nutmeg. So it definitely tastes like
Spice of it.
oh yes.
And one piece bites the dust. Just toss it. So do you think it was worth it trying at least like trying to do it, or it tastes good? Is that right? Where you piece? I see you with a big knife. You taste it already? Everybody taste. Julia, will you taste? It tastes good. I know you can say so because you was eating all the batter, and I didn't get to hear what you thought.
Camera's right there.
Yeah.
talk about nerves. Jeez. So tell the rest of the experience. Everybody was talking about the baking soda story.
The powder.
The baking powder.
That's her name.
Her nickname is Shanice.
From Cambodia?
So was it? So Grace, was it dry? Because you kept saying it was gonna be dry.
No, because I put in the milk. Remember, I put in the milk.
I think if Grace did not put in any milk, it would not taste nice.
Okay, so the milk saved it. The milk saved it.
She's swinging that knife around at me. I put in the milk.
Ready to talk.
Okay, somebody said it right.
So
Have your moments.
I did so much. Like I can't let me the cake.
No, you did not.
Like I did the flour, I did the cinnamon and the vanilla essence.
There's already a
And-
video, so let
and-
me show it there.
And the cake it's caking.
Because you made it, we don't like it. We change our minds. We don't like it anymore.
Just love
Yeah, you made the cake that we put away.
You made it, don't like it.
All right, everybody. So it was a good experience. Would you say it was a good experience?
Yes.
Would we try it again? So next time, I think what we're gonna do. Not you guys. You guys don't have this, but the next time.
We got the other dancers.
Of course, yeah. Everybody will get to try a piece at Praise Academy today.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
You have something?
The camera woman said she's not prepared.
I think after you eat, it gives you a cheesecake mixture.
A cheesecake kind of feeling.
But it's definitely not cake.
So what Auntie Marcia has done today, we have a birthday at Praise Academy. So we've decided we're going to share the cake that the girls have made with one of our dancers who's going to be 9 years old. So isn't that cool? You guys made the cake just in time.
What did Gracie say about the cake? I missed that.
Everybody loved it. So okay, start with Kamoya
What
and
did
just
they say,
give a
Kamani?
rundown. Yes, everybody
That's
had.
fine.
That's
fine.
everybody
Yeah.
has some
That's
cake.
great. That's great. So we're waiting on
The
Riley.
only person that didn't have cake was me.
I didn't have any. Yes, come on.
You can taste a lot of nutmeg. You could
Yeah,
taste a lot of nutmeg.
Let me see. Oh boy, am I going to die here? Imari.
I think Imari would have died first.
Oh Lord, listen, you said it looked like vomit.
Oh,
It's like
remember
tuna and vomit.
before
Are you
before
I put the milk.
before Gracie put the milk.
Yes,
Before Gracie put the
Milk and Jalea put in the egg.
It's actually good, guys,
It's like really good.
and it's not too sweet.
I did that.
I will put some sugar.
The flavors are melting like.
Oh yeah, the sugar is good.
I did that.
It's nice.
I did that.
Good job, girl. Girl, high five.
I did that.
Oh, yes, I did it.
You did not. I did that. I did that.
And honestly, it's really good.
And it's like different. So there's not like how like.
Yeah, we're different.
Alright,
It's not the basic cake,
it's like
but it's a mix between
Yeah.
cheesecake.
It's like cornbread. It has a cornbread kind of texture.
Yeah.
Actually, it's like a mix between cornbread and.
So you're telling me that Julia has created a new way of making
A
it?
new recipe.
Of putting the baking powder into the eggs?
Wait, what?
Wow, yeah.
That's what she did.
Bacon burger?
Baking powder in
Baking powder into the
Instead
eggs.
of mixing the dry ingredients, you put baking powder.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with what you did, because if you didn't remember the baking powder, we would have had flatbread. Good job.
We're gonna pancake right now.
When somebody has a birthday today, girls. Somebody has a birthday. Who has a birthday today?
Yeah, just go. You can.
Who has a birthday today? Who is this person? What's your name? Tell the camera your name. Your name is Riley. How old are you today? 9. Oh my goodness. Everybody say happy birthday, Riley.
Happy birthday, Riley.
And guess what, Riley? You're getting these girls will put up your hands. If you bake a cake in here today, put up your hand. Put up your hand in there. You never bake a cake. Oh, you bake cake in here today, Ray. Put up a hand. Are you not? And look at the Riley. They bake 2 cakes, and you're getting one of the cakes.
You're gonna want the frosting. You get the special one.
You get the special one. So it's your birthday, Riley, and so you have to make a wish and blow up the candles. Oh, you have to sing happy birthday. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, sing it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Riley. Happy birthday to you.
Okay. Yes. So look at the cake now, and you're gonna blow out the candles. Happy birthday, girls! How you feel? You feel good to know that you made a cake that could be a birthday cake for somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel good about that, Kalia? Gracie?
Yeah, let's hope it's to her taste and yeah.
All right, guys, this has been wonderful, and you did something that you never did before, right?
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. You did something today that you didn't do before, right? You made a cake without a recipe, and most of you out there, you make cake. You can't make any cake without recipe, all right? And they made a cake without recipe and was able to give one to a child 9 years old, decorated and everything. And I think that is wonderful, all right? So this is where we sign off.
Virtual DJ.
Next week. Ah, wonderful. Oh my goodness. Look at Senator Warren. I brought you in even before you realized because I saw that you were caught up watching it. Good night, Senator Warren. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Hi, good night, Marcia, and good night to all of the viewers.
It's a pleasure having you. I saw you. You were engrossed watching those kids and that cake. I know you're a big chef, but do you make cakes without recipes?
Make cakes without recipes. Well, normally I would follow a recipe, but by now I know the recipe so well that you just put it together. And sometimes you can experiment. What I love to do is to experiment with different flavors. So I would go about it that way. What I liked about the session before, because I had done one with the New Testament church in my district, a similar thing where I taught the children how to make, I think it was cupcakes at the time, or something like that.
Yes. Oh, nice. And how was that session?
Well, it was pretty good. Actually, the boys were more interactive at that session, and we had a competition between the boys and the girls, and I think the boys won, but maybe I was a bit biased.
But that's what I thought. If I get the boys, if we get the boys involved, get food. Once we get food, we'll get the boys because we have not been able to get the boys. So we got a boy to come to taste. So we might, but we might go with that idea. We might just invite you to teach them to make cupcakes. We might just invite you.
All right, not a problem.
Well, welcome again to the Marcia Week Show, and you're not here tonight to talk about cupcakes and recipes and all of that. Even though you're a big time chef, listen, he makes a mean shepherd's pie, and the whole thing. This man can cook. You hear I tell you? But
thank you.
But tonight we're talking about migration and job opportunities. And the person you're seeing on the screen is our former Senator Andre Worrell. He was also vice president of the
Democratic Labour Party and served as president as well.
And as president as well. Thank you. And as president of the youth arm of the Democratic Labour Party. You have always been in leadership in some executive position in the Democratic Labour Party. And welcome to the Marcia Week Show tonight. So take it away. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Marcia, and to the viewers as well. And well, there's so many things happening in Barbados right now which are concerning for citizens in particular, and
Yes.
in particular for young people. Now we're talking about migration, and I don't think that we can isolate Barbados. But if you look at migration, you also have to look at what is happening in the rest of the world.
Yes.
Now, right now, I'm actually looking at the citizenship bill, um, which is before a committee in Parliament. And you know that the government attempted last year to make change last period to make changes to the citizenship bill.
Mm-hmm.
And as you go across Barbados, you're noticing that more and more non-Barbadians you're seeing them in the workplaces. You are hearing the accents when you go to the gas stations, when you go to the encounter the security guards, and when you go on the construction sites, you're seeing people who are not Barbadians working on these construction sites. So
Mm-hmm.
we recognize that a number of people are actually coming to Barbados and living in Barbados. We hear the government saying, well, our population is declining, that we have a low birth rate, we have an aging population, and they're looking at migration as a way of dealing with that. But you have to look at both ends of the situation, because it seems as though the government has opened up the floodgates to allow any and everyone to come to Barbados. But at the same time, Barbadians are complaining that they cannot find work, especially young Barbadians. And a number of young Barbadians are on the block. And some people have associated the lack of employment opportunities and the high cost of living to the increase in crime which we're having. So we really need to look at what we our plans for migration, how we go about it, and if we may not need to put some controls on it before we reach a situation where we get to a stage in Barbados where we cannot manage it.
Yes.
Because countries such as Canada, the UK, larger economies, they have a process for migration. Normally, it is a structured migration process where they're looking to fill certain skills gaps. So that if you want to, Canada, there is a shortage of workers, nurses, doctors, trained professionals. So
Mm-hmm.
they open up their borders to those skilled professionals to come in. But we have to be very careful if we believe that by simply allowing more people to come to Barbados, it would automatically have an impact on the economic growth and development of the country. Because there are a number of factors that need to happen before take place before that can actually happen. Because you also need to look at the same time about the social services. You're inviting persons to live in your country, so that means they need to have access to your health care.
Mm-hmm.
If they have children, they also need to participate in your education system. If at any point in time they become ill or incapacitated, they would also have to rely on your social welfare system as well. Do we have the capacity? It also impacts on housing. It
Mm-hmm.
impacts on transportation as well. And we are seeing a negative impact in all of these cases because you have a situation now where Barbadians have returned to renting a room in
Mm.
a house.
Yeah.
That was a thing prior to 2008, where it became so bad that you have persons who were living in Barbados living in less than quality conditions. Um,
You're saying, excuse me, so you're saying in 2008 that a lot of Barbadians were renting rooms at that time? But
there were
prior
a
to
lot of
2008?
non-immigrants here in Barbados,
Ah, okay, I remember. Yes, I see where
persons
you're
who
going.
were undocumented working in Barbados. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a situation where they were living in conditions, not only renting rooms, some of them came in farm labor programs, and they were actually in makeshift accommodations in pig pens, chicken pens, all of those things. And this was actually documented and was
In
in the
Barbados
media
here,
in
people were living
Barbados.
in chicken pens and pig pens in Barbados.
makeshift accommodations, right? Which
Wow.
found not to be, obviously, you don't want to have a situation like that because you want to make sure that you have a certain quality. So now we are facing a situation where you can hardly find anywhere in Barbados to rent because there's competition from the villa market and the long stay visitors. So obviously the cost of rent has gone up. And then if you have 3 or 4 migrants sharing accommodation, renting a room, that would obviously they would obviously be able to pay more than a Barbadian who would want the same accommodation for their family. So a mother who would want accommodation for her children, or a mother and father who would want to raise accommodation for their family. And then the next aspect of it, you have to look at when you have a overabundance of persons in the labor market, what will happen? You'll probably
Yes.
have a reduction in labor costs, which I believe we have been seeing in Barbados, in
Mm.
that this influx of laborers have resulted in a reduction in the labor costs because now you have more people competing for the same job. So you can offer less, you can pay less, or the migrant who comes in may be willing to accept less than what is the regular pay for the job, even though the labor
Yes.
department says that even though the laws of Barbados says you should not do that, but we do know that our labor department cannot police a number of the workplaces because when a Barbadian can't even get in contact with the labor department to make a complaint for their work environment and expect that it will be investigated with any um in a short period of time,
Right, right. Yes.
right? So you face situations like that, and all of these things are pushing Barbadians out of the workforce. So when you go to the gas stations, which used to be an entry level job for a number of young people, are you seeing many young Barbadians there? No, you're not. When you go to construction sites, a entry level job for a laborer, all you have to be to get the job as a laborer, be fit, be strong enough to work on the construction site. You're not seeing a lot of our young Barbadians there. And I think it's important that we bring these realities to person because many of the people watching your show today, Marcia,
Yes.
they stay home or they are within their community. They don't travel around Barbados the way they used to. And you're not getting the established media in Barbados bringing the images. But if you go to a number of the construction sites across Barbados, what do you see? You see an obvious foreign workers working on the construction site. They may be Asian, they may be persons from South America or other areas of the Caribbean. And if you hear the accents, you know that they're not necessarily Barbadians. Some may even be speaking Spanish. But a lot of people don't know this because unless you travel around Barbados and see these things, you don't know this. The government is not reporting on it. The established media does not report on these things. So, where are the opportunities for our young people in Barbados? And so when we look at migration, we must make sure that it is properly managed. And you
Hmm.
cannot have a lower or reduced labor costs or where you pay the workers less in a situation where we have a high cost society because the cost of living in Barbados is very high. When you go to the supermarket, the cost of food is high, the cost of gas is high, the cost of accommodation is high. Your utility bills, you might soon see another increase on the electricity bills. We pay so much right now for telecommunication in terms of internet service
Yes.
alone. These things are priced, I believe, almost beyond the budget of the average Barbadian. But in order to survive, you need to have it because
Yes.
your phone works with the internet, your television works with the internet, and if you're studying, your children would need the internet in order to do their work. But look at the costs, the unit costs of an internet service in Barbados or a landline. And haven't you realized that a lot of Barbadians are moving away from landlines just to
Yes.
sell
Yes.
your service? Why? Because of the costs. So we
Hmm.
have a very high cost society, and a high cost society cannot also at the same time have a job market which is underpaying the labor force. So when you have that level of immigration, these are one of the things that you will have, and obviously it will lead to chaos in the country.
Yes. You said something earlier that in Canada that they open up their borders, but they do it strategically. So they open up their borders based on the shortages within their country. Is that something that you think might work in Barbados if we were to do that? What I mean, right now, what's happening is that we have just opened up the borders and all and sundry. I mean, I don't know if people know that there was a second plane load of Nigerians, or West Africans were here on Sunday. Did you know that, Mr. Warren?
Yes, I heard about it because I believe the trip is every 2 weeks. So um
But it
it
wasn't
comes.
even 2 weeks. Well, the people at those who work at the airport said they were shocked because they were told that it was once a month. But no, in the space of a week there was another flight, and it's been alleged that they had uh, you know, I wouldn't bring that in your segment. I would leave that to Miss McLean. But about, well, 17 pregnant women on that particular trip. So the point I'm making is that the border is just flung open wide.
Mhm.
Could we try something like what Canada has done? Would that help us a bit better, you think?
Yeah, I believe that that approach would be better. And also, you also have to, at the same time, your citizens must feel as though they're the priority.
Mm,
So if it is a situation that we have a labor shortage in certain areas, Barbadians must be trained to help fill that labor shortage. If the demand is not there for persons to pick that up, well, then you allow a few persons in to
mhm,
meet the demand at the
mhm,
time, but not to open up the floodgates where I am not certain that we have any control over who comes. Once the person comes, because you get that impression that a lot of people are not coming to jobs, they're coming and then looking for the jobs. And that's the difference, because I believe that you need to come to a job instead of coming and looking for a job. So that may be one way in which you can control the number of persons who come in, and you look for the skilled talent to come in. And to go further, there's a difference between being a migrant worker and then getting citizenship. Because if you look at the legislation, you see that is the intention of the government to also offer citizenship in Barbados very quickly to persons who migrate to the country to work
yes.
or find themselves here, or once they make an application, right? If a person's coming from CARICOM, if they make an application, they if this legislation is passed the way how it is, within 3 years, some persons can receive citizenship in Barbados. Or even if persons are here as migrant workers now, who, based on certain texts within the legislation, and were here for about 3 years, when the legislation is passed, they can be automatically given citizenship. There's a difference between having resident status in terms of being able to reside and work and being a citizen. And I think that you need to protect that value of being a citizen. We don't, as Barbados, we
Mm,
really do not have much to offer the people who were born and raised here
mhm.
as opposed to other countries. And we have a small country, limited natural resources. Yes, they're prospecting for oil, but we did that before and it was not very successful. So we would hope that it would become successful and we would have the economic boom that Guyana is currently experiencing. But
Yes.
we would have to wait and see if the depths, the where the oil is located in Barbados, if it makes economic sense to actually pursue it at this time,
Drill it. Yeah.
based to drill it based on what the world the price of oil is on the world market.
Yeah, the cost of doing that. What somebody listening to you could say, Senator Worrell, that you sound xenophobic. Because I see a lot of that being put on social media. Everybody who they even calling me xenophobic. I'm Jamaican living here, and I am just saying that you need a balance. Something is off here. I want you want to help people, but
Mhm.
I think that living here and seeing what is going on, it's gone overboard at this
Correct.
point.
Yeah.
But what do you say to people who say that it's xenophobia?
No, it is not xenophobia because you also have to protect the persons who are coming as well. And you don't want someone to come to Barbados expecting better than to find that, what I was expecting did not quite work out. And at the same time, it opens up those persons to being abused because no, you are coming to Barbados, you are leaving your ties from Africa, from Jamaica, wherever you're coming from.
Yeah.
And you end up in a situation where you have to accept a job paying you less than what an average Barbadian would make. You have no social ties here, hardly any friends or any network. It exposes you to being abused by the employer or the persons around you. So those are things that you have to protect from. At the same time, we have to recognize, look, something that may have started off good,
Mm-hmm.
after a couple of years, it could be abused or it reach a stage where it is not quite working out. Look at what is happening in South Africa right now. In South Africa, they're actually having protests against the migrant workers and have given them an ultimatum to be out of South Africa by the 30th, I think, of June. Many
Yes.
of these migrant workers are complaining that they're being abused by the South Africans.
Mm.
Why this is happening? Because jobs are scarce in the country. And if jobs are scarce in the country, obviously you would expect that your government will look out for you. So we don't want to come a time when in Barbados, and we are at that stage right now, because there are not many people in Barbados. There's a long list in Barbados at National Housing for Housing. The government is not adequately able to provide housing solutions for Barbadians, and the market does not necessarily treat to the lower income persons. Healthcare in Barbados, we are not managing that well. Okay, there's still the long wait times at accident and emergency. There's still the long wait times for surgeries in Barbados. So if we're dealing with a population of roughly 275 to $280,000 and thousand persons,
Mm.
people, and you are inviting 10,000 more to come and add to that number, are you making the situation any better? You're
No.
making it worse.
But
So
you're
then,
saying 10,000, but already between based on their reporting between October and April, October 2025 and April
15,000.
2026, they said that they have 15,000 persons have migrated here from St. Vincent, Belize, and Dominica. I don't know if they remain, but that's what they said. And we haven't counted my Jamaican people, or those that's as you heard, you said they're speaking Spanish, all kinds of languages. We haven't counted those as well. We haven't counted the Africans as well. So we don't really know what the numbers are. Senator Worrell.
Correct. So, and therefore, and you have a small piece of pie that you are now trying to divide amongst all of these people. So it's not necessarily xenophobia, but it's people, you're looking out for yourself. And if it is done the wrong way, it would actually turn people against foreigners. And you don't want that. You don't want a situation where um, persons in the country are turned, their minds are turned off from foreign workers because they see them as
That's
competing
it.
against
Yeah.
them for the limited opportunities which they have. The same thing happened in the UK, which to some extent resulted in Brexit, because at that time, a lot of persons living in the UK, they believe that persons coming from other parts of Europe were actually getting the jobs, but persons born within the UK were not actually getting the jobs and the opportunities. So if it is not managed well, history is there. You have examples from other countries to show that eventually the tide will turn, and people it will cause the people in the country to turn against each other. So wouldn't it make sense to try to manage it properly? So don't just label it as xenophobia and try to get away with it. Everybody in Barbados have friends and family members who are either from St. Vincent, Guyana, all over the place, and we welcome them, and interact with them. But at the same time, if you reach a stage where you have persons that your household cannot eat, are you not going to turn against the person who's preventing your household from eating, regardless of if they're Barbadian, they're Jamaican, they're Mexican, they're Chinese, they're Indian? You are going to look out for the ability for your household to eat. So
Correct.
it's
Correct.
not necessarily xenophobia, but you need to deal with it so it does not get to that stage and you don't have the negative impact of xenophobia with people having a negative impression on migrant workers, because it can work. And
Yes.
Barbados have gone overseas and worked in other areas, but in a situation where the jobs were there and you are not necessarily taking away bread from other people, right? But you're faced a situation where you're actually taking bread out of someone's mouth right now. A number of young people cannot get their first job. A number of young people are working and you're not even paying national insurance for them. And they feel as though that they're working in dead end situations. You need to fix that.
Yes. Yes.
You're going to make it bad for everyone.
But before we close this segment, we have another 5 minutes because I took 2 minutes from you. But let me ask you something. What and Dave, in the meantime, Dave, if you can get that video ready of the the Nigerian lady who felt that she was deceived. I saw that you had put that up, and I want to get your reaction to that video before you go. But I have a question for you before that, while Dave puts that video up. Someone said online, why are Barbadians afraid of multiculturalism? Because that is what is being pushed. You see, it is being pushed that this would become a melting pot. Barbados will become a melting pot. We're going to get 80,000 more people to come here, Barbadians to live here. And it will be a melting pot. We're not having enough children of our own, and so we have to bring people in, and we have to bring in 80,000. That's the goal of the prime minister. What are your thoughts about that? As a Barbadian, you hear the word multiculturalism, you heard that word melting pot. Do you think that Barbados is ready for that, or it is that Barbados is just afraid?
I don't necessarily think that Barbadians are afraid, and we already have multiculturalism here in Barbados. But we also need to balance the situation, because multiculturalism fails if you cannot provide for the persons who are coming to Barbados to have a better way of life at the same rate that you're providing for Barbadians who live here. So it fails in that regard, because if you don't have the $10 to go and buy the jollof rice, you don't experience multiculturalism in Barbados, because you simply cannot afford it. All we are simply saying is that we are concerned. Job opportunities are not there for a number of people. Housing opportunities are not there. Our healthcare system is stretched thin. It is underperforming. Our educational system is underperforming. Schools closed with rats. Schools where children are being diagnosed with scarlet fever and other health concerns and things that you really don't understand what is going on. This is not the Barbados that we are accustomed to. if you want to have multiculturalism, you must be able to maintain a certain standard of living for all persons. So the persons who live here and the persons who are invited here. And I think that people really need to understand that everything that glitters is not gold. We really need to go to really in depth to research what is really happening with a number of these people who are coming to Barbados looking for jobs. What's the quality of the jobs that they're getting, right? What are their housing situation? What is that like? Um, all of these things we need to look at and make sure that we are not exploiting people or who are coming here, and at the same time are we need to provide for our people who live here, because right now Barbadians feel as though you cannot survive unless you leave Barbados. So here it is that you are inviting people to come in, but you're chasing Barbadians out. Barbadians feel as though they cannot stay, they have to leave.
Yes, I'll just play this video and and just get your quick comment about, you posted it and it has gone viral on Facebook. It was taken by Matthew B. Let's give him the credit. And then I think you were the first person who put it on Facebook. I want to know, I want you to try to remember some of the comments, the general comments of Barbadians about this video. Dave, just play it quickly again. Just refresh your mind.
This sister, someone gave me her number. That she's stranded in a hotel. So at Christchurch. So I now say, okay, let me go and see her. When I got there, she explained to me how she was being deceived. And the same thing applicable to me. They said there is job in Barbados. You get to Barbados, you do all the kind of job you have. A sales girl, supermarket, cleaning. I said, okay, I traveled. So when I got here, I couldn't find anything, but I still survived. So, but someone told me about her, that she's crying, she's weeping. She's staying in one hotel at Christchurch. So I have to locate her this morning to went there and pick her. That was all. And she need assistance. So myself, I need a job. So she need assistance, she need work. Either supermarket, anywhere, she's ready to work. Yeah?
So can you say which flight she came in on there and how she was deceived?
She traveled down here on the airpiece on Sunday.
Which country she's from?
From Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So she just needs some help.
Sir?
She just needs
Yes,
some
she
assistance
said,
and
yes.
some help.
Yes.
Okay, this is Matthew B here with two passengers. I pick up this morning, and this young lady needs some assistance. If there's anyone out there that can find her a job or something, Matthew B is asking for some assistance for this young lady. I found her crying. She's not feeling too well. She was deceived to come to this island to seek greener pastures. So I'm calling on some assistance out there to help this young lady. What is her name?
Your name? Fasilat.
Fasilat.
My name is Samuel.
Okay, you both of you from Nigeria or just her?
Yes.
Okay, but mainly her needs some assistance.
Yes. If I see any job that's...
Do you have a contact number?
Yes.
To contact you? Can you pass your contact number?
Yes, I have a contact. Yeah, my Barbados number.
Yes, well, we can stop it there because we could stop it there because we know that they got some help. What's your final word, Mr. Worrell? When you posted this on Facebook, what's the general comments that you're getting? What are the comments you're getting from Barbadians?
I think that many Barbadians from the comments are surprised at what they heard in the video, because many of them are asking, but we thought that these people were coming here as tourists. So why are you coming as a tourist and now looking for work? And also the idea that they were deceived to come here with the expectation that jobs would be here, because some Barbadians even said, well, maybe I should take to social media and express my not being able to find a job, and hopefully someone will come to my assistance as well, because Barbadians who are out there trying looking for work, not getting the jobs, and then you have someone who came in just a couple days ago and now reaching out for Barbadians for assistance. We do believe that this should be an immigration matter, and well, this is just one case that Matthew B highlighted, and we don't know how many more are actually out there. This may be an isolated situation, but definitely this should be an immigration matter. And I also want to say, well, with regard to the flight and the trips between Barbados and Africa, yes, this is something that we needed to do to have that bridge for a long time. But we also have to make sure that we are not the ones who get the short end of the
End of
stick
this thing.
with regard to that bridge, and that it is utilized. And you make sure that we have to protect the rights and the citizenship of Barbados. But right now, it seems as though the citizenship of Barbados is up for sale,
Yes.
and is being taken out of the hands of Barbadians. So, a lot of people are actually concerned and surprised by the reaction on the video, because we heard one thing and know you were saying something else. So it makes you wonder, really, how is this allowed to happen? This should be an immigration matter, and how many more persons are out there in this situation?
Yes, yes, very well said. Thank you for posting, having the courage to post it, and thank you for joining us here tonight. And as you know, there's always a space for you here. You have anything on your mind? What's on your mind? You call me up, and you can come on. But I know you're busy these days. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, former Senator.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Marcia.
God
Good
bless
night.
you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
then.
Bye-bye. Wow, that was very, very enlightening. And it is great to hear Senator Worrell's voice again. And we want this to be a space that you can come, you have something to say. If you listening and you have something to say, call me up and come on and say what you have to say. Well, we're moving along. And we have Michelle Daniel is with us. And she's saying she's not hearing me. She's not hearing. Okay, let's see. She's not hearing. Okay, let me know when you're hearing. And while Michelle is getting ready to join us, let me say her topic tonight. She's talking about peer-to-peer accountability. And when Michelle told me about this segment, I got very excited because I didn't even know it existed. And so she was, just giving us an account of what happens in the US when you have a young child between, say, from the age 8, I think it's 8 to 18. She will correct me. If they have their first criminal offense, or just whatever criminal behavior, or just probably acting up at home, etc. What happens to them? And so Michelle is going to be sharing with us. I just want, in introducing her, I want to say that Michelle, it's one of those Barbadians living overseas who have caused me to be so even more passionate about Barbados, because what they don't realize is that I watch them and I listen to them, and I believe that what I see is pure love for their country. Pure love. You have Michelle, you have Sue, and quite a number of you who are watching. I just called 2 names tonight, so don't kill me. But Michelle has given of her own resources, and she's given, as I told you tonight, the Elevate. She started the ball rolling by donating computers. She's given cameras to children I know of, and clothes. And I know she doesn't want me to go in all of that, but I want to say that this is what we do here on the Marcia Reed Show. People who are associated with the show, we're not just talkers. This is not brass tacks. We actually get into action. And so as she comes to speak to us tonight, I want you to take what she's saying in that light, to understand that this is not somebody who's sitting in America speaking and doesn't want to do anything for Barbados. That's not who is coming to you. So let me welcome Miss Michelle Daniel. Welcome again, Michelle. You're listening, and I can hear myself, and you're
Good
delayed.
night. Good night. Can you hear me, Marcia?
Yes, I'm hearing you, and I'm going to ask you. You look lovely, but I'm going to ask you
Hold on. Hold on.
to turn off the device you're listening from.
All right. Try it now. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
But
Can you hear me?
I don't hear you. I don't hear you.
Oh,
I don't hear you. So I don't know if I got to go out and come back in. I don't hear you though.
you're not hearing me. You want to try that? Just to go out,
I
come
may have
back
to put
in.
in an earpiece. I don't hear you.
Yeah, go out and come back in quickly. All right. So she's having trouble hearing me. Yes. Yes. What, Sandra? Oh my gosh. Sandra, your two sons died and now your mom died? Oh. My condolences. That is, please pray for Sandra Brewster. Are you hearing now, Michelle? Michelle, are you hearing me? Obviously not. Wow. Yes. Okay, Michelle, can you hear me now? Yes? Yeah, okay. Wow. Again, my condolences, Sandra. We will definitely be praying for you on the prayer line. Wow. Okay. All right. Yes. Good night again, Miss Danielle.
Good night. Good night. Good night, Marcia. Good night, Dave. Good night to the whole of Barbados. I know you guys have not seen me in a minute, but I had some things I had to do.
Yes, and you look lovely. You look refreshed too, and you look lovely.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I am so excited about this topic tonight because, on Wednesday nights, we try to focus on young people. If it was up to me, we'd just deal with young people issues the entire night and just give Wednesdays to young people. One day, that's what's going to happen. But we mix it up a little bit. And I guess you saw the segment with the girls with the cakes, baking the cake.
It was lovely.
You like that?
Yes, for sure.
Yes, you see, you have one of your girls. She's part of that, and she's using her camera. She's very excited about two of the girls you gave the cameras to.
Yes, they're doing a good job.
Yeah, she is the one filming, and she's 14. And then the other girl, Jalea. Jalea is one of the panelists, and she's 12 years old. So
they're doing a lovely job.
Yes. I need to let them know that you're seeing them and you're proud of them.
Yes, I am.
And thank you for all the equipment in the studio. We are still trying to find a way to use it. See, I'm not even in the studio tonight, but thank you so much. Michelle, I don't know, words can't express, how much I want to say thank you for giving me that encouragement to keep going. And we respect you, we appreciate you, and we
thank
value
you so much, Marcia. Thank you. And I appreciate what you and Dave and what the opposition, does, loyal opposition. I appreciate it. I mean, you guys motivated me to do more also. Sometimes you just can't just give. You have to get involved and you have to get on the ground. And Marcia, you have motivated me, and sometimes you push me a little hard, but
I know.
But yeah, you're a motivator for sure.
Yes. We love each other. Let's leave it at that. But Michelle, go right ahead, Michelle.
Well, I want to say, hello, good night to everyone. And tonight I came on, I spoke to Marcia and I said I would like to do a segment And the segment is about the youth, and it's about a situation I specifically was involved in. And I thought it would be a good idea for everyone to hear what happened. Now, I'm usually around and no one has seen me in a minute because I had a situation in my family directly that affected us so closely. I have a 17-year-old granddaughter, and she got arrested. Let me just be let me just be straight about
Be
it.
honest.
She got
You know how
arrested.
you know how we do it, Michelle. We tell the truth.
Yes, my 17-year-old granddaughter got arrested. I'm gonna say it's been about 3 months, and I was devastated. I mean, I was devastated where I literally stopped everything that I was doing, stopped speaking to other people because I needed to focus on this situation. The reason I needed to focus on the situation because here in the U.S., these type of infractions can ruin your life. Like once it gets on your record, it stays there. So you employers, they do background checks, they do security checks, and they see that you have an incident. She's only 17 years old. She is what we call the 11th grade here. She's now this September she'll be a senior in high school. We had last year of high school, and that was the first thing that came to my mind when this incident happened. Now she's in the police books. I was devastated by that. Now she's in the police books, and now we got to figure this out. So I'm not going to go into detail because she's still in the process. Things takes like about 6 months, but I felt it was important to discuss this because I was introduced to a program that would help turn her around, help create, like erase her record, and she can just function and go on her normal life, and this not be a blight on her her public record. So she was arrested, and immediately they take her to juvenile, where they take the juvenile and book her in the juvenile court. And that day it changed how we live, changed how my family live. And I was so emotional, but at the same time, I don't know if too many of you know what I've done for a living. I worked in emergency service for over 20 something years. I have seen it from the other way. I'm the one in the uniform. I'm the one seeing people get arrested. I am the one next to the police. This time it's in my home. It's in my family, and it's a family member. So it's a little different when the shoe is on the other foot. And I find myself in a place where in a dark place. I had, you have hopes for your children. You have hopes that, they go on and they live longer than you and they be way better than you. So they arrested her. It happened to be a Friday. And you think about, do they have weekend court? What is the bail? What do we have to do to get her released? What do we have to do? I say this because, we never think about how we are introduced to the legal system. Meaning, a police officer comes to your home or wherever, comes out to the scene, and that's how you're introduced in these matters. She was charged with a domestic assault. So let's be clear. She was charged with domestic assault, and I'm thinking we have a situation. So this is my entry into the legal system in reference to juveniles. So, I'm thankful that we had police officers that were kind, police officers that understood that this is a young person, because when they arrested her, she really didn't even have any clothes on. I had to say to the officer, please, can you allow her to even put her pants on and just not drag her in the street looking like that? You have to be conscious of this. I see it all the time. And they were, it wasn't where they were overly aggressive. They just came to de-escalate the situation. So she gets arrested. It's a Friday. They tell us that to come down to the police station, come down to the juvenile jail, and in a few hours. We'll call and let you know a few hours. So maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, we end up going. We end up picking her up. And now we have to have this family talk. We have to have this family talk of how did we get here? How did we get here? What are we going to do next? this could have been worse than it. Why did we have to come this? We have to be real about this situation. So they give us information when to return. We weren't return, and she has her first hearing. When she has her first hearing, matter of fact, you know what? When we were leaving the jail that night, they explained to us that we have recommended this particular case to something we call youth court. Youth court is different than juvenile court. And how it works is the peers, other juveniles her age will be the ones that run the court. We think that this situation is not to the level that we need to take it to the DA's office. They've already made the decision before I get there that this is going to be a situation that we handle in youth court. Something I didn't know nothing about. Like I said, I'm not in the system. I don't know how to really handle this. I just knew that we're in a situation and I need to help her navigate this situation. Do we need a lawyer? What do we have to do? How long it take? Can her name be cleared, or can this, how long this stays on her record? So they tell us that we're going to recommend her for juvenile court. What is juvenile court? Juvenile court is a system within youth court or teen youth court is a system inside the juvenile system. And what it does, the children, the juveniles between the age of, let's say, like, I think they told me 14 and 18, they're high schoolers. They're the ones that really run the court system. They're the jurors, they're the prosecutors, and she will have to go in front of them if she chooses to, because you have a choice. You have a choice to plead guilty and go through the youth court system, not the juvenile court, but the youth court program they have, or you will be, you will notify the DA's office, and we will take it through the justice system or through the legal system.
So Michelle, before
yes.
you move any further, so this
Yes.
youth court, they are how young are these people, these young people who are the judges in this youth court? What's the age group?
I would say teenagers, like let's say high schoolers. They are high school. Middle school is from, let's say, 12 to 17, 18 years old. Okay. They are running the court, and it's being supervised by either a judge or by a magistrate. But the magistrate, the adults are saying nothing. They say nothing. They are trained to do this. How you apply for a position. It could be like a community service. You apply, you can something that you can add to your resume, as a young person, and they apply. They are trained in how to run the court. They are trained in how to be a juror. They are also trained to what their penalties should be. They're not choosing whether she is guilty or she is not guilty. They're just choosing the penalty stage, because in order to be in the teen court system, you have to already say, I accept I'm guilty, and we're going to take it from there. Other than that, we go to regular court, and we go to regular juvenile court.
So once the child between age 8 and 17,
yes.
Once they have to be a first time misdemeanor offender, okay?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, and then they need to say I am guilty. If they don't say I am guilty, so you must admit guilt. And
yes.
And you waive your right, as you have here, to a speedy trial.
Yes.
That's the catch there.
That's the catch. Yes. Parents are highly involved in it, because we're the ones who have to come and pay the fees. We are the ones who have to, whatever the penalty phase is, whatever they decide, the jurors decide, it's about 6 months you have to actually fulfill whether it's community service, whether it's community service, what else? You write a letter, maybe you have to, whatever they decide to do is what you have to do. So, okay, so the first hearing we have, and we sit down, and the parents are not allowed to say anything. She's allowed to say, they ask her questions, and she gives a full account of what the incident happened. She signs and says, yes, I'm going to plead guilty to this situation, and where do we go from here? So she says, she explains what the incident is. They tell her, okay, we're going to send you, you're going to get your court date, and this is what to expect during the court time. So during this whole time, I'm like I said, I'm kind of impressed. I'm kind of impressed because in my mind, I'm thinking I'm really got to go through the legal system with her. But they're telling me to calm down. This situation does not reach that gravity. We're going to handle it here. And we believe that she will make it through, and we'll do whatever it takes to like get her through this process. So part of it is they ask you questions. Well, do you smoke weed? Do you vape? What do you do? What do you do? You have to like really come clean in the whole situation. So she did that, and then the next time we come to this teen court, it's in the evening. That's another thing. It's in the evening. It's after work. Let's say start from 5:30 in the evening. It does not interfere with with traditional court in the daytime. You come in the evening, and you it's set up like a regular court. You see the jurors go in, they call you in, we go and we sit in the gallows. We're as a family member, we get to watch the whole thing, but we don't get to say anything in the entire entire session. Once that happens, they come out, then they call her and tell her what exactly the penalty is. While we're in the court, she is explaining what happened. The jurors also ask questions. Ask questions whether do you believe you have an anger management problem? Do you believe that this could have been handled in a different situation? Are you are you remorseful? A whole lot of set of questions they have. Then they ask her to step out. Then they so I'm going to be specific in reference to what the penalty she received. She received something called homebound. That means to school, from school, is no hanging out. She also received drug testing once a month. She received, what else? Community service, 20 hours of community service. And now she also has to come and be a juror for the next set that's coming through also. So that's part of it.
Wow.
Yes, so that's part of it. And
So she has
what
to
else?
she has to serve in the teen court.
Exactly. After she gets through this part of it, she has to also serve in a teen court. And that's why they call it peer-to-peer accountability, because you are sitting in front of a group of like-minded, and I noticed one of the questions was, do you recognize anyone as a juror here? She said no. And then they asked the juror, do you know her? And they said no, because if you are familiar with the defendant, you are disqualified. You cannot sit there if you know them. So they really make it transparent, make it unbiased, and really make it where the offender as well as the other youth can hold each other accountable in this whole situation. If you do not let's say if you do not complete the penalty phase, whether it's whatever the probationary period is, you're automatically expelled from the program. You're expelled from that teen court, and now your case is bumped up to juvenile court, if not to the DA's office. You're just canceled out of the whole thing if you do not complete what the jurors have decided that this would be the consequences. I was really impressed. The fees were really low. You have to pay some, administrative fees. You have to pay drug testing fees. It really brings the parents into it. It brings the parents because, of course, you got to bring the child down to the courthouse. At the same time, this opens up a conversation about, like, how did we get here? Like, why are we here? What is wrong with the anger? This allows the parent and the child. It's unavoidable. You cannot avoid it. It can't be where you just show up to court. The parents have to come along with the child. The parents have to be there. The parents are sitting there. So it's not one or the other in this situation. Like, I think about how many times, my father had to come to the school for me. A lot of things that I've done at the school, they managed it in-house. They managed it in-house. My father had to come. He's angry. But this brings the parent straight to the courthouse and gives them some hope that when she turns 18, this will be removed from her record. And that is
Ah,
what you're looking for. You're looking for her to get a clean slate. So she cannot,
so
right now, she can't.
with the teen, the youth court,
Yes.
it can be, a record can be expunged
Yes, yes. Before she turns 18. And
before she turns 18.
yes, it will be expunged, but she cannot reoffend. You can't, you got to be on your best behavior before you, by the time you turn 18. It's just so happened that she's 17, but I've been there and I saw a young man, he was 9, 10 years old, trespassing. So he's got a long time to go to and hopefully he doesn't reoffend. But the program, after looking into the program, doing a little study on how Florida manages the program's been around since 1970. The Department of Juvenile Protection and in federal government kind of set the parameters, kind of set the rules and the policies and create the framework for this program. It has an 80% rate of success. 80% is very good for this. I tried to find out how much does this program cost? Like, what does it cost the community? What does it cost? Apparently, it saves the court money because these cases start with $5,000, as far as administrative fees, court fees, and, work their way up. So it really saves the court money, and it brings the community because the community gets involved. For example, she has to do some community service. So her community service end up working at a daycare center for 20 hours. So she can add that to complete that. So it brings businesses, it brings families, and it brings the community, and also brings the legal system together to help navigate and help this child make it, and hopefully through this lesson that they do not reoffend. They catch it so early, and that's important. We have something called tender years, 8, 9, 10, 12. Children are really impressionable, during those years. Those are the years that the gang members really recruit. 8, 9, 10, 12 year, because they're looking for somewhere and someplace to be. And we have to think of it also at home when we have older children. You have someone who's 8, 9 years old, and they have an older sibling. You have a child that's 16, 17 years old. The 17-year-old does not do what the 9-year-old does. So we have to think about that also, about what we allow the tender years to see and to experience when we also have a older child in the home.
Right.
So I was really impressed. I had to take a sigh of relief that she will be able to make it through. And I can honestly tell you from her face and from what I've seen her behavior in the past month or so, the school called. The school's like, we don't know what the turnaround is, but school's closing, and she's got an A in math. She's got an A in math. So this, like I said, it affects everyone. I want everyone, the sound of my voice, to understand that when your child is arrested, it affects the entire household. Everyone is traumatized in the house because you now you have to see the child differently. Now you have to see the situation differently, and now we're moving away from youthful stuff, and we're moving in the big lanes of dealing with the legal system. And as just normal citizens, we're not used to being in the system. We don't know how this system runs. So you kind of depend on that police officer. The police officer that came to the scene. You have to ask him a question. Hey, what do I do next? Where am I going? What do I do? You kind of depend on that officer, or the initial encounter with the legal system is that officer. This here, like I said, I've done this, been in the system as a government employee for years, but when it came to my doorstep, it's different. It's different. I'm completely, like I said, I was taken aback. So I was fortunate. I was thankful that the police officers that dealt with this situation were very, very kind, very kind. And I can never say that I have nothing against the police anywhere, Barbados, anywhere, anything, because I work close to them. I understand, what they go through. I understand what they have to deal with. And now I understand it from the other side. When they came to arrest her, they came like this was, they came with everything. Everything showed up but a helicopter. This is how serious it was. Everything showed up but a helicopter. So it was frightening. It was, things go wrong. We see it in the newspaper all the time, in the news all the time. Things go wrong. But like I said, I had some level-headed officers. They saw what it was for what it was, and they were able to guide us. Look, this is what we're doing. We are recommending this pathway for her.
So
I
go ahead.
Mhm.
No, complete your thoughts, and then I have a question.
I brought this to you. I brought this to you, Marcia, because like I said, I didn't know anything about it. I'm not in the legal system like this. I didn't know anything about it. And I said that this could be a good, this could be adapted anywhere. The way the system has it, I looked up on websites where the system has, this is adaptable anywhere. This is less money than actually going through the system. This is where the community, the family, businesses, everyone is involved in this whole situation. And this can save lives. This can save time. This can be a gateway for understanding. This can happen. This can be implemented at schools. We watch the schoolyard conflicts. We see that young girls, and I find that really strange that young girls now are angry. They're like, they're not like we used to be. Like they're rough. They're rough. And I've seen some videos online and young girls in the yard, and they're squabbling with other young people, and this is where this program can really be effective, can really help us navigate why our young people are so angry, because it is peer to peer. Other juveniles hold other juveniles accountable. You know how they feel when even with the cake situation you had, Marcy.
Yes.
They were holding each other accountable with their cake.
Yeah.
So I felt this was something I needed to share. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not ashamed of it. I think situations like this, we cannot be secretive about it. We have to be a community, and we have to say, hey, what do we do? How do we do this? Does anyone know what I should be doing? We have to ask those questions. So that's why I open this up to everyone to hear that, hey, my family's not perfect. I try to do everything right, and I still got caught in this situation.
Well, Michelle, thank you for being open. I remember when you called me, when we found out about it, and we were praying and so on. It was wow, this is, we were going through it with you, although we weren't there. But when you shared this with me, I thought, this would be great for our community to hear about, what you have there in Florida, and how it's really helping your teenager, and to talk about Barbados, and for us to begin to compare and to see what are the possibilities we're seeing in Barbados. Our children at younger and younger ages. Look at the young people some of them who were caught. Those who stabbed the tourists. There were young people in there that they couldn't even put their faces in the newspaper because they were children.
Exactly.
And what happens to them? And I'm not sure that we have that kind of system here. I've never heard of it here.
Well,
but,
I think I think that we have to start before they get to that stage. Monday, I had to go to court with her, and she sat in. I'm not able to go in the room, but she came out and explained. She said, hey, there was a 9-year-old. He's about 9 years old. That's, 9-year-old, about 9-year-old, she told me, and 5th grader. And they were trespassing. They are trespassing in a place that is barred off, is closed. The sign says no trespassing, and they were picked up. by the police, and the police recommended them to the youth court. And this is where it has to start. We just cannot allow like the minor things to we can't, we have to address those minor things. We have to address following the rules. We have to address them very young. Other than that, that's what you're going to get at the very end. 16, 7-year-old, and they're not even in the recommendation pool for something like this. They immediately go into the adult system because the crime is so egregious. We have to address it at a young age. We have to address these things that are going on at the schoolyard. I know I don't know if anyone, like, I tell this because I know there's people in the diaspora also, Caribbean people in diaspora who have never been inside of the U.S. legal
Correct.
system,
Yeah.
and this will help you. And one thing I'm going to say to you: stop talking to the media. The media is not helping you in this situation. Stop speaking to the media. I know they're the first ones there. They need clicks. They need to sell newspapers. They need to sell whatever they need to sell. By you speaking to the media when this incident just happened, you're kind of making yourself at a disadvantage. Don't speak to the media about this. Even if you feel that you need to say something, that's for your lawyer or for whoever is handling it. Just don't speak to the media. Just move forward and don't speak to anyone about it. And that is really important situation.
Seek reformation. Well, one of the things that, in the presentation that you sent, you talked about the difference between the juvenile court, which is a traditional system, which is what we have in Barbados, versus this youth court. And Dave just had a chart up. Thank you. And it talks about the recidivism rate with the teen court versus the juvenile court, which is the traditional, which we are seeing is in the that's a dark blue, right? Can you talk about that, the difference in the success rate?
Well, the studies have shown that it's somewhere above 80%, of them completing the program, and less than 20%, somewhere around 15% of them not being, being reoffenders, less than 15% of being reoffenders. So it's a very successful program. I can't, like I said, this is my first time involved in it. I know what it is when the parents, the police says your child has done something, and they have to deal with them. But I also think that we have to do this earlier. We can't wait till they're 16, 17. We're already too late. We're too late. We have to address the minor things. We have to, I'm all for helping the teachers. I'm all for helping anyone that's going to help the community, help our families. I'm all for helping them get through it. And this is something.
They're saying if it requires an engaged family in order for youth to partake in the youth court.
I would say yes. Because you're the one who have to bring the child down to the court. The family is the one who has to pay the fees. The family is the one who has to make sure that the child gets through whatever the program requires them to get through. And at the same time, you have to make it to 18 years old, without reoffending.
Right. So the family is involved. So they need to.
Yes.
If that child committed a crime at 9 years old, they have between 9 years. They have to basically not getting any trouble with the law.
Not getting any trouble with the law, because this is what the program tries to do. It tries to get you to come in now and you sit in front of others and see it from the other side, what it looks like when a child comes in and has to, explain themselves. They have to explain what the situation is. So that is why part of it, you absolutely have to come and sit as a juror.
Yes, and sit as a. So, Michelle, tell me, I think I know why you wanted to share this with Barbados. But can you tell Barbados why when you went through this experience, you could have kept it to yourself, but as a Barbadian, you wanted to share this experience with Barbados. Why? Tell us why.
Well, as a member of the loyal opposition, we are not just here to just put the government on notice about the things that we see that we dislike. We are here about solutions. We are here about finding solutions. And I hope that someone in, I don't know, government, they love watching the show. Hope you find something positive in this. Hope you find something that you can take away from this. This is not a secret. You can go on the U.S. government website and they have an entire guide of how to adapt this program into whatever system it needs, whether it's at school or whatever program. There is a guide to do it. And I really want to let my fellow Barbadians and those in the diaspora to know that this happens to everyone. We once your child goes through the door, you could be the best parent, you could have done everything. It's gonna happen. It can happen to your family. There's no shame in this situation. There is no if anything, we need to be a community. We need to be a community. We need to help the police. We need to help ourselves. We need to help our children. And that is the first thing. I want everyone to know that this is about putting your child back on track. Putting your child back on track. Like, don't go into the the legal system and do what they asking you to do. The only thing the parent should be concerned, as far as I'm concerned, and this is my personal opinion, I want to know what's best for my child. That's it. And you tell me what's best for my child, and this is the direction that I need to go in to set her back on the right track. I don't want to hear about a judge or whatever they think. This is, if you're telling me that, okay, we need her to have counseling. If you tell me that, I'm doing it. Whatever you tell me to get her on the right track. And this is why I brought this here, because I need parents to understand that, yes, they're gonna try to ruin our lives. They're our kids. They're gonna try to ruin our lives. And the reason I say that is because if you're in a position and you have a job that is sensitive and your child gets arrested, it can cause you to lose your job. It can cause you to get suspended. Like I worked for the government, but I work with the public. A situation like this could have caused me to get suspended from work, even though she's my granddaughter. I say it as a mother, but if I was a mother in this situation, I could get suspended from work. I can be expelled from my work duties, meaning like I can no longer manage the public until this case goes through. This is the real world. This is how it happens. It can cause you to lose, like say if you have some sort of security clearance at your job. You can lose security clearance behind your children doing things. So this is why it's important for us to be mindful that even though we feel like we're the best parents out there and we're doing everything possible and we have to work, we still have to be mindful that there's outside influence, that when they leave home, we don't know exactly what they're involved in. I didn't know she vapes. I'm saying, how is she vaping? She goes to school on a school bus. She comes home. She's not a truancy. She goes to school every day. Obviously, the vaping is happening at school. Okay, you give her money for lunch money. Now I can't even do that. I can't even give her lunch money because I'm thinking like you're giving this to the vape man. So these are some of the things that we have to be conscious of. The money that you give your children, what are they doing with it? They bring something home. What are they doing with it? And this here like reset my mind, because I had one image of her, and I'm not saying this in any bad way, but now I have to change because I have to explain to her,
Yes.
you're 17 now. You're 17 now. I have to actually treat you like an adult because there's some things that I need to say to you that you can't. You have disrupted this family. You have created grief because the family members become victims too in this situation, and you have caused harm to
Yes.
someone else. And thank God that other person did not get, seriously injured. And I think she was remorseful because after having the conversation, there was nothing but tears, because the day that she was arrested, there were no tears. She was, what you see on the internet, she was ready, so, but after that and sitting down, I said, this could have went really bad. And now how are we going to fix it? And this is why I brought this here to everyone, is that because I need everyone to be mindful, not just your own. Like I said, she's my granddaughter. Not just your own, others. When young people come to you with something, we have to pay attention. We have to pay attention. We have to do our due diligence. We have to listen to what they're saying. They're getting highly influenced outside. We have to be mindful of who their friends are. I need to know. I pick her up from, from she's on the what do you call it? The majorette team. They are the cheerleaders for the football team. She's on that. I need to know who these girls that she's hanging out with. So I'm serious about this. I bought this here because I love Barbados. I love people. I'm a lifetime public servant, and I think that this is what I needed to do. I did not need to keep this a secret. I didn't think it was anything to keep a secret, and I hope that there was something that everyone got from this situation that I went through. I hope that what I went through educates someone, and that when they see it coming, that they're able to, kind of counteract on what to do if something happens. And I also, like I said, there are many of us in the diaspora who don't understand the American justice system, and I needed to tell you guys that and the reason I say this, Marcia, is because there was I think she'll say she's a Trinidadian in New York, and it was an incident where her son was being bullied. And I think everyone saw this online. Like, we don't know. We just know that he was being bullied. We never saw the incident that we saw. There was, he was so frustrated. He took the little girl that was the young girl that was bullying him, and he dropped her on the ground. He, just picked her up and dropped her on the ground, slammed her on the ground. And now he's in a situation. Okay, he's in a situation for retaliating. And what I saw the mother do was get in front of the camera and kind of like, you don't need to deliberate this in front of the news people. Your only thing that we saw as the public is that he should not have done that. We don't know that he was being bullied that led him so angry to do that. So for our people who in the diaspora who do not, come in contact with the justice system, don't say anything. Follow whatever your attorneys say. Follow what you need to do for your child. Don't let them lead you. Just be on guard. Be on guard. Our children, like I said, we don't know what they're gonna do.
I'm telling you, I really do hope. As a parent, I'm listening, intently, and I deal with young people, and I love
Hold on, I don't know why I can't hear you again, but hold on a second.
Yeah, I love the restorative process that this takes the young person through. Don't you all? And I'm glad that she is taking advantage of it. Well, Michelle, I just want to say thank you so much. Can't hear.
We lost audio.
Lost audio again, but thank you. I'm saying thank you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Still can't hear me. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. God bless you.
Thank you. I love you, Barbados. Thank you.
God bless. Yes. All right. Wow, that's very important information. I know we don't have that in Barbados or in the Caribbean, where we do the traditional juvenile court, but they have a youth court. And how many of you appreciated that and do you think that something like that can help Barbados? Let me hear your comment. Let me see the chat. What do you think that this is something that might be able to help us at the stage that we're in right now, in Barbados and in the region? Is this something that we want to do? Somebody said that the traditional isn't working. I thought this was really very good, very thought out, and they've done a great job with it. And thanks for Michelle for being so transparent. And I love my diaspora people, my diasporans. Vihoy is another one that inspires me a lot. Who inspires me a lot? Vihoy. And Vihoy, I just want to say, wow, you guys don't know what you do for me. You really don't know. And in helping me, you're helping Barbados. I'm sitting in this chair because of the support that I get from you. I'm not just saying that. And I need to say it because every time I come to sit, I am conscious of what it is that is happening, that I don't just sit here for myself. I sit here because you make me. You provide the opportunity for me to sit here. And I thank you so very much. Dave and I, we appreciate you all, ladies. You know who you are. And gentlemen, thank you for all the support that um, you have given. The ones who send the prayers, the equipment, what we need to make sure that what needs to happen. I get emotional about these things because it is so real, and especially when people want to say that we are being sponsored by all these, I don't even know, right wing and left wing and all of this nonsense. I don't even subscribe to that, but thank you and every single one of you out there. One of the things that you've just helped us with is the bus to Gospel Fest. Do you know how many children were on that bus? Lots of children from very tough communities. One of them said, thank you to the person who brought them on the bus, because if you didn't take us today to Farley Hill, we would be on the streets getting in trouble. And they sent the voice note of the child, of that is what the child said. And they said, thank you. We're trying to get those who work with those children to come and to share with you next Wednesday, because that is what all of us need to get involved. And you are getting involved. And this is why we're getting involved in the communities through Elevate. We want to take Elevate into the communities. And we want every child in Barbados, we want them to be able to read. There's no child should be left behind. No child who has a mental ability should not be able to read in Barbados. No, every citizen. I'm not here talking about the government. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. And if you can type in this comment section and you're typing in English, there's a little 6-year-old child who cannot read in Barbados that you can teach them A for apple, B for boy, book. You can teach them phonics. If you don't want to do that, you could sit down and read a story to them. That is a must. That is a must, Jacqueline. Every child should be able to read. Every child should be able to read in this country. Every child should be able to read. We're looking for volunteers. Don't tell me nothing about Mia Motley right now. I don't want to hear about the Ministry of Education right now. We've done that, and we will do that other times. But when it's time for us to lift that finger and the hand and to help that child so that we don't have more of the savvy incidents. Because we could criticize the savvy incident from now until 2030. But unless we get involved, everybody get involved. I was so pleased when I look back in the bus. So many children were in that bus. They were pointing at things. A lot of them never went that far from their communities. But you have to pay for that bus, loyal opposition, so those children can ride on the bus free of cost to Farley Hill. That 90% of them never been anywhere like that before. Thank you. But I'm saying, no, we don't just want your money. We want your time. We want you. Can you at least say, Marcia, I want to volunteer to teach children to read in this lovely country of Barbados at least 2 hours a month. 2 hours a month. If you have time and you cannot donate 2 hours of your time a month for Elevate, why are you even commenting on the program? Why are you even joining the program? I'm very serious about this. Those children on the bus, this is not what I plan to talk about in this segment, but I go off on this because, you know, people didn't know, but I when I look back and saw the children on the bus, and you could tell by the way they present themselves, they are not from well-to-do homes, okay? These are the children, if you do not step in now and you try to deal with the issues that they have right now, you're going to see them in the custody of the police. It is those kinds of children I'm talking about. We have an opportunity to do something now through Elevate. That's why I do the shows with the young people. And you see the cross section of young people. We have young people in that show from the Valerie. We have young people live in the Heights and the Terrace. Young people who live in all kinds of communities, part of Elevate. We take them on hikes. We take them as we just did to Farley Hill. All these different things. Because you're trying to get them out of their environment. We want them to be able to read. Why should a common entrance student have a reader and you don't have a visual disability? You don't have a visual disability and you have a reader? Reading what? And where are you trying to do an exam to go to? I am not talking about, listen, guys, I'm telling you now. I understand, Valerie, those of you can't be there, so you support, and there are people in Barbados who physically can't go anywhere to help and to do anything for anybody, but some of you can. Some of you can, but you have chosen the road of just criticism. It is not good enough. It is not good enough. That is not the spirit of Barrow. That is not the legacy of Barrow. We just celebrated his death on June 1st. And as long as the resources are there, I promise you, Behoy and everybody else, we are going to have Elevate in every nook and cranny, every community in Barbados. That is just as powerful as the protests. When you give a child the ability to read, that's what saved me. I look back in the bus. I was telling you that story, and then I missed it. I look back in the bus and I saw those children, and again, you know, because tears come to my eyes because I will never forget where I come from. It is God and education in that order that have me sitting here this evening and not in a jail cell. God and education in that order. You might not like that order, but that is my order. It's my story. The church paid for my lunch money and my bus fare and my school fees. The church paid it. Every Sunday night after the offering, the pastor would and the secretary call me in what they call the vestry, and they gave Marcia money for the week for my lunch money, bus fare, and any fees that have to be paid at school, paid out of the offering at the church. You see why giving back is so important? A lot of you, if Errol Barra did not do what he did in terms of the policies or education, a lot of you would have come up with no education. And some of you, not everybody, some of you, you have the time. We can always blame the system. That will have its course and the time. But we've got to reach in. These are children. We have to reach in and we've got to help them. You can't be taking common entrance. You are not mentally impaired. You don't have a disability, and you have a reader to do what? No. Yes. So I understand that, VR. So we're not talking about those children. I'm talking about, and I've seen them at Praise Academy, so that's why I know. There are some of them in first and second form. When we're reading the scriptures at Praise Academy, they cannot read the scriptures, ma'am. They can't read the scriptures. Right now, we have Saturdays and Thursdays, Kimte. Thank you for asking. These are our people. And I keep telling us, nobody's coming to save us. Nobody's coming to save us. If you are waiting on a political party to save you and to save Barbados, you have a wrong mindset. It's not going to happen. Let's go and start with the primary school children. Let's start with the little ones. Okay, that's how Barbados is going to be saved. Okay, my phone should be hitting up with people. I should be turning away volunteers. And I'm not going to stop. I'm going to go harder. Some of you are going to get mad with me about this. And you could always get mad with me about it. When it comes on to children, when it comes on to education, these are things that we can do something about it because we can read. We ourselves can read. Right? Thank you, Kimte. Thank you, Kimte. From 9 to 10 on Saturdays is what we have at the moment. 9 to 10. And the thing about it is that we don't want, Kimte, the classes to be too big. So we want one person to be dealing with at least most 2 children. 2 primary school children. We will provide the books. We provide the resources. Sonny, who is not even Barbadian, went to the UK. I'm going to tell your business, Sonny. Sonny brought back books. Workbooks for the children. She wasn't even born here. Okay? Some of the older ones might be able to if you want to work with older children, we're trying to arrange something for the Saturday evening, and this is at Collimarock. Just contact me and get busy about it. If you have a location in your community, your church might be just locked up. A lot of these churches are locked up in the week. If your church is locked up in the week, ask the pastor for 1 hour and say, listen, I want to bring Elevate to this community. And all it is, that we're not, there's autonomy. You teach the children to read. That's all. We share the resources that we have. If we have computers, we bring it. If we have books, we give it to you. But the numbers are not going to go up tonight because we're not cursing the government. We're trying to help the children of this country. You're not going to be interested too much in the show because we're trying to help the children of this country. You don't mind us coming to comment on the little ones going into the jailhouse with the handcuffs on them. You don't mind us commenting on that. But once we are going to truly help, then nothing on the other end. So here we are. We're not talking, and so that's the thing. Thank you, Kim. And those are the messages I'm reading in the chat. I'm not reading right now what the government is doing and what the parents are doing. We're talking here about the children. That's what we're dealing with right now. I'm not saying that they should not be responsible. But there are enough of us in this country who can read for us to eradicate illiteracy in Barbados. We have enough people who can read in this country. Enough of us can read. Can you imagine if Barrow sat down and said, let somebody else do it? If Errol Barrow sat down and said, let somebody else do it. He did not do that. He got up and he did something about it. He was making sure that all of you, not just some of the family members, because your parents could not afford, they would have to pay to send you to school. And very soon, that too will be taken away from you. What are you going to sit down and say, well, the government should. No, we got to take care of ourselves. It takes a village. It takes a village. Correct. And I was supposed to talk about health alert or health awareness. I'm just quickly going to say a few things, and we will pick up. Dr. Ferdinand will pick up on it on Friday. Miss McLean is still getting ready to come on. So let me just switch gears tonight. And right now, we're going to talk a little bit, just review a little bit about scarlet fever. Again, because we're seeing that this is, at the moment, seem to be impacting the children. I know our government doesn't want to say too much about it, not too much. They're very tight-lipped about it. We want to talk about our public responsibility, the trust of government, and the lessons learned from history. I'm going to try to go through this very, very quickly, as fast as I can, but it's a little review, right? What we know is that there has been a confirmed case of scarlet fever involving a student at Hillaby Turner's Hall School. I believe as parents, we know that it's not just one case. We know the government is saying one case, but we don't believe that. We do not. We know that scarlet fever is a real disease. We know that it is caused by a bacteria. We know that it is treatable. All of this, Dr. Hines shared with us, but I thought it was important because of the symptoms that parents are seeing happening to their children in their homes. And the government, they're not going to tell you the truth. That's just it. And we know that if it is left untreated, it can sometimes lead to serious complications. These are facts. Symptoms include a high fever, sore throat, swollen glands, headache, body ache, nausea, vomiting, extreme tiredness, weakness. Remember, he talked about the red rash, but as Black people, you might not see red, but there'll be a rash on the skin. And it might feel like sandpaper on the skin, okay? Some children have their tongue look a little bright red and it kind of look a bit bumpy. So make sure you look for these things. Grandparents, tell the parents, look for it because this can become very serious for our children. If you see these symptoms, seek medical advice. I know you don't want to go to QEH, I know, but you've got to seek medical advice for your children. The child you might think it's just a flu, as Dr. Hines says. You got to move on it. Dr. Hines has encouraged parents to discuss testing options with their healthcare provider, right? To ask for a throat swab, right? Ask them to test that because you don't know. Ask them to go further. a throat swab. All right. And you're testing to know if there's a bacterial infection is present and whether treatment is required. What are the dangers of ignoring the symptoms? Parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, and listen, please. Listen. That's what we do on this show. We educate on the show because what we're not going to get from the government. If we can't get it from the government, we are going to teach each other. Air infections and sinus infections, pneumonia, rheumatic fever, kidney complications. There's another one that I'm forgetting. Let me check my notes here. I know there's another one, but I'm just going to look at my notes quickly. There's another one. It starts with M. Meningitis. Meningitis. Yes? So you can have some serious infections can develop. This is why parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, teachers, anybody who has children in their care, you should not ignore persistent high fevers. Children who feel severe weakness and telling you they can't walk, as the parent in that video was saying, difficulty swallowing, breathing problems, unusual rashes or symptoms that continue to worsen, okay? Now, I want to just play a little video for you of history before Miss McLean comes along, and why it is important for us to, in this season, in this time, based on what we experienced with COVID, it's important that you research for yourself. You seek information for yourself. Talk to your medical doctor. Don't sit and wait on the government. History teaches us that public health crisis can place enormous pressure on governments. And when you have sometimes with public health crisis, they can affect trade. They can affect travel. They can affect tourism. They can affect national reputation. And because of that, you sometimes will have under-reporting. Now, I'm going to let you listen to a video, which is a claim that they're making. I tried to find information on it. I haven't found, I just found some things. That historical records do confirm that Barbados experienced a yellow fever outbreak in 1908 and 1909. At the time, Barbados had a reputation as a relatively healthy Caribbean port. They said it was a healthy port and had not recorded yellow fever for many years. So when the outbreak occurred, you can imagine the shock that occurred in the island. So what I'll say is that this video that we're going to play makes some claims. What I've found is that the historical public health records says that approximately 86 cases were recorded of yellow fever in those 2 years, and there were 36 deaths during the outbreak. All right, but based on there's oral history as well, and this is what this video is claiming. Okay, and what I want you to take away from the video is not necessarily whether whether what we hear in the video is correct and everything in the video is correct. What I want us to take away from it really is that it is so important that we seek information for ourselves, that we don't put your trust entirely into the government. Okay, this is going to be very important. So let's just listen to the video quickly, Dave. and then Miss McLean is going to come to us. The video is only a couple minutes. Dave, are we there? Having challenges? Let me see. I really want you to see this video. No. Okay, no video. Just can you just let me know what's happening? In the meantime, let me read some of your comments. All right, so I'm not, everything is dead. I don't know what's happening on Dave's part, if something is wrong technically where he is. So let's just bring in Miss McLean. Let me remove this banner and bring Miss McLean in. And let's get up her banner. In the meantime, guys, like and share. Like and share, folks. Okay, it seems, I know Dave was having some challenges technically, so he seemed to be dropped out. But I'm going to try to see if I can get that video played for you before the night is up. I think it's very important, because I also want to, once I play it, I want you to help me to find more information on this if it really occurred. Okay. All right. Good night, Miss McLean. Can you hear me? Oh boy. We can't hear you. Yes, go out and come back. Yes. Yes. So I don't know what's happening with Flow. I can't wait. Anybody out there have Starlink? We need to get some competition in here. The internet service is horrible, Flo. Flo, your internet service is terrible. And I can't wait for you to get some serious competition in this country. It's awful. Please bear with us. We're trying to get ourselves sorted here. Yes. All right. Okay, so Miss McLean, who was on, she's going to talk about exploitation in migration. And so I'm just waiting for her to join at this time. She's having some internet issues, and it seemed like Dave is having internet issues. So I am here by myself. Anybody has been seeing any children, anybody in your family been having flu-like symptoms? Any children sick in your family? Anybody who's watching? No? Yeah, you're asking about community centers. Yes, Bihoy. We will try to get some community centers as well. Okay, Dave is back. Okay, let me move this banner. Guys, I want you to watch this video and let me know if anybody can verify this story, this claim that is being made. I am not sanctioning the claim. I can tell you that there was a yellow fever outbreak 1907, 1908, but I cannot verify all the claims in the video. Okay, so but I would love to play it. Go right ahead, Dave.
1908, the government of Barbados buried over 300 people in secret graves and told the world only 12 had died. In the narrow streets of Baxter's Road in Bridgetown, Yellow fever was killing families faster than they could count. But Barbados was known as a healthy port. Ships brought money. Money meant survival. So the colonial governor made a choice. He ordered the death certificates changed. He swore the undertakers to secrecy. He told ship captains to quietly avoid the harbor. And he buried the truth with the bodies. For months, unmarked graves filled the ground while the official count stayed at 12 deaths. The real number was 25 times higher. Families watched their loved ones disappear into the earth with no ceremony, no records, no memory. The community never forgot. They stopped trusting doctors. They turned to bush medicine and old remedies passed down in whispers. In the 1970s, construction workers found the mass graves, hundreds of bones, no names, no headstones. Just the government's buried secret finally seeing daylight. The dead of Baxter's Road had been waiting 70 years to be counted. Did you know that in 1908, the government of Barbados...
Dave, you can play it again. Play it again, please. Thanks.
Buried over 300 people in secret graves and told the world only 12 had died? In the narrow streets of Baxter's Road in Bridgetown, yellow fever was killing families faster than they could count. But Barbados was known as a healthy port. Ships brought money. Money meant survival. So the colonial governor made a choice. He ordered the death certificates changed. He swore the undertakers to secrecy. He told ship captains to quietly avoid the harbor. And he buried the truth with the bodies. For months, unmarked graves filled the ground while the official count stayed at 12 deaths. The real number was 25 times higher. Families watched their loved ones disappear into the earth with no ceremony, no records, no memory. The community never forgot. They stopped trusting doctors. They turned to bush medicine and old remedies passed down in whispers. In the 1970s, construction workers found the mass graves, hundreds of bones, no names, no headstones. Just the government's buried secret finally seeing daylight. The dead of Baxter's Road had been waiting 70 years to be counted. Did you know that in 1908, the government of Barbados...
Yeah. Well, actually, Dave, you can keep it there, but off. I want to ask, what I did find that there was yellow fever in that period of time. I did find that Barbados was considered a healthy port, and it was very important for trade that the port, because there was a lot of trade that was happening in here at the time. It was a very wealthy colony, and so. But I want to know if anybody knew of any construction that was happening in the 70s and where they would have found all these bones underground. I remember speaking to a historian. He's a white historian. I hate to say it like that, but I can't remember his name now. He died. If Dave could put his name in the chat. I can't remember his name. I could see his face. He was in the Barra movie. But he told me of excavation being done on all these bones and bodies that were found. But I can't remember if it was a link to this yellow fever outbreak. So if anybody is able to know any information, you have any, yes, Watson, historian Watson. Carl Watson. Thank you, Dave. If anybody knows of any information on this and you can pass it on to me, I would really, really appreciate it. I would really, really like to know. But I brought it to you just as something for you to think about as it relates to the scarlet fever, the Ebola, all of these different diseases. Be very careful of what you're hearing. Do your own research and follow your gut. Okay, listen to your medical practitioner as well. All right. Okay, though. Over to Miss McLean. She's back. Let's see if we can hear her. Good night, Miss McLean. And Dave, it's a lucky thing I did not go to the school, because Dave is there and he's having endless problems with the internet. But good for them. They thought I was going to be up there this evening. Good for them. I wasn't there. Go again and try. Somebody saying the Pelican Island used to be a quarantine site for what? Digital Island? Okay, I have somebody else, Nigel Newton. Oh, Nigel, that would be awesome. Nigel Newton, I'm saying it aloud. Nigel Newton is going to be talking to the children, basically giving them a civics class. Isn't that awesome? Can you imagine if we can get these kind of civics classes? Is going to talk about ethics and moral philosophy and so on, but I think it will, at their level. Can you imagine if we can get these classes set up all over the country? Really, I mean, really, really think about it. Yes, Dr. Carl Watson. So, and Nigel is volunteering. That's excellent. Somebody else is telling Dave that they want to volunteer their time to the Elevate Literacy Program. I tell you, we are going to wipe out illiteracy in this country. If you think that we can do it, as not when I say we, I don't mean just a loyal opposition, as Barbadians, do you think that as Bajans we can wipe out illiteracy in Barbados? Sharon, you have the Montessori phonics system. Can you message me, please? If you have a reading system at home, it could be the Abeka system. That's what we use to teach our children to read. Abeka, the Montessori, any kind of phonics, any kind of reading system. Your children, they've done with it already. It's in good condition. Send it to us. Call me, please. Call me, please. Okay, we're trying to see if Miss McLean will be able to come on. If not, we will just do it. Yes, Nigel, I can take a call from you. Nigel, can you call in and talk about the cholera in 1854 and in the meningitis epidemic in Barbados in the 1940s? Yes. Anybody saw that while we're waiting on Miss McLean? Dave, we have that article, the article that speaks of the NIH researchers have been charged with allegedly smuggling in monkeypox in the US. Let me just resend that to you, and if you can put that up. So we can, Dave, search your WhatsApp for it while I welcome Nigel Newton. Good night, Mr. Newton.
Good night, Marcia.
Yes.
I was listening. I'm always listening to your program.
Thank you.
Yeah, but as you were talking about the problem with the Ebola, now I just remember that as a boy growing up, I heard the older people, like grandparents,
yes,
and great-grandparents, I heard them talking about the meningitis outbreak that they had back in the 1940s. They said it was quite an awful time. I don't have any figures as to how many people died, but I used to hear a lot of stories about the meningitis outbreak back in the 1940s. But thank goodness we have not had such an outbreak in recent memory. And that is very good. I also heard about the cholera outbreak in 1854. And I think the estate, in fact, where I grew up over in Spurs and St. Philip, there is a place called the Saw Pit that will take you from, say, Fortescue, Supers, and down by Palmer's estate into Sealy Hall, St. John.
Okay.
There is an old graveyard somewhere down in that Saw Pit where they buried a lot of the people who died from cholera. I heard those stories as a boy growing up.
Right. Wow. Wow. And we are in this modern time. We don't know of those. Well, we could say COVID would be the what we would talk about, you know. Yeah.
We can talk about COVID, but in 1854 there was a devastating cholera outbreak. I think they said some 20,000 people died during that time.
Oh my gosh.
People just died like flies.
Yeah. And Dave has something here that says the island held a quarantine facility specifically for sick crew and passengers on ships in order to prevent spread of infectious diseases to the mainland. There were housing facilities for patients, a morgue, a caretaker's quarters, and a laundry area equipped with a cauldron for boiling clothes for sterilization. So even back in the day, they didn't open the borders that wide. You know, that with all of these diseases, they didn't open the borders that wide. And while I have you on the line, I see Miss McLean is back. But let me just complete this call here, Miss McLean. Dave, if you can put back up, did you, Nigel, did you hear of the, Nigel, you're still there? I think he's gone.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm hearing you.
Did you hear of the scientists that were caught smuggling? This is a brand new case. Only happened, I think, yesterday. The NIH researchers have been charged allegedly smuggling monkeypox related biological materials into the United States. These are they who have been alleged, a black guy and a white guy. Federal authorities say they brought 113 vials through a commercial airport and falsely described the contents to customs officials. The researchers' work focused on emerging viral pathogens and how those pathogens cross the species barriers. You believe that? So you're telling me that this could be what is happening around the world, that they are willfully bringing diseases into countries?
Well, you know, if you remember some time ago, I spoke about genocide. You recall some time ago I presented on genocide? Well, there are certain forces throughout the world that want to control the world, one, and two, want to dominate the earth's resources. So they believe that there are too many people on earth, and therefore they have to control the population so that they can have their way with the earth's resources. Mm-hmm. And if you look carefully, okay, for example, take Venezuela, take Greenland, and there was also an attempted plan for Canada. Certain people want to be in charge of the earth and want to hoard the earth's resources for themselves. And therefore, do not be surprised that at what they do. They will do anything whatsoever in order to gain control. And COVID was one of them.
Yes. We will continue this conversation on Friday with Dr. Ferdinand. And it will be good. You can call in then.
Just before you go, some time ago too, in the early days, there was leprosy in Barbados, and I think Pelican Island, that was the area designated for persons with leprosy.
Yes.
But we will talk about that some other time.
Thank you so much, and thank you for volunteering to help with the children. We will create that course, Mr. Newton. We'll create the course and tell you when we're ready, when the students are ready. Okay.
Yes, certainly.
All right. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Let's see now. Good night, Miss McLean. You're muted. Unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we're hearing you.
I'm on my tablet. That's why you're seeing me looking different, I suppose.
Yes, I know,
I
I
don't
know.
know what's happening with my computer. But you know how it is. Things happen.
I am
Efforts
telling
are made
you,
to do
Dave is
whatever.
having
But
no
we will persevere.
we will persevere, and we will, once you're available Friday, you'll have your proper segment on Friday,
Mhm.
so
Mm.
we just gonna use the next 20 20 minutes just to give you to talk about exploitation in migration, and just before you even start that, Miss McLean, they've put something on the screen, a little history of outbreaks, in Barbados, medical outbreak, disease outbreaks, I should say,
Yes.
in
Uh-huh.
Barbados, and just how they were trying to secure the borders and so on. And it's very interesting, what is happening. We are getting overcrowded here in Barbados, and can you imagine if we should have a disease outbreak in Barbados with this overcrowdedness that is happening in here? It makes for a disaster, really,
But
but
you
that, I know
know,
that's not what we came to talk about.
but no, I want to make a comment because
Yes, ma'am.
when this whole question of scarlet fever came up, I was a little concerned because I was like, when I think of scarlet fever, I think of centuries ago or what. This was my thinking. It
Yes.
is like chickenpox years ago. The first case of chickenpox I saw in my life was when I was a graduate student in Louisiana. I had heard about, and not seen it, but I sent this a question to a pediatric cardiologist to ask her what her thoughts were about this, and she confirmed, as you had done with Dr. Hines, how the disease comes about, and in fact that my thinking was wrong, that it occurs. But I will read a short note that she sent me before I start to talk about these other things, because some of these things are connected,
Yes, they are.
in the sense that if people come into the country and things that they're not properly documented and not screened, and depending on having access to medical services, etc. But this is what she had said to me. She explained that it is, in fact, it occurs, it is common. She said it may be underdiagnosed. And she said we have had children with presumed Kawasaki disease that ended up having scarlet fever. And then she explained, of course, there's her words, there's a hyperreaction that a strep to a strep throat infection. But here's what she expressed the concern. Remember, I'm talking about a pediatric cardiologist who deals with heart issues,
Yes.
She said, my concern is that this is the same infection that can lead to rheumatic heart disease. And I think you touched on that when you talked about rheumatic fever. And this is the other point she made, which we have pretty much eliminated. So then she goes on to say, good hygiene and ensuring to stay away from people while contagious has helped. But what caught my attention was when she said this could lead to rheumatic heart disease.
Yes.
And so that now you're introducing a serious complication. Because if a child, and this is a disease that affects children in a particular age band, in the majority of cases, from what I understand. So what we have is a situation where we can't just dismiss it. And we have to ask ourselves, what is happening? Is it a situation where children, and this is a school, if I remember, let me ask the question, is this the same school where they were concerned about the physical conditions of the school in recent times, where there were cases of rat drop-ins or whatever the case? I'm trying to remember. In other words, they had to close the school for cleaning. So this is one thing. The other concern is if you have persons, now we are talking children here, but we are talking a situation where persons can come into the the country or be in a community or in a workplace or house, come into a household or business place, whatever, and have something. You mentioned leprosy, and I can tell you that as a child, I grew up near to what was referred to as the lazaretto, which is now part of the university facilities. As a child, there were people who actually resided in Black Rock at the lazaretto, who were patients suffering with leprosy. And when they were cured, I can tell you of individuals who grew up in relatively close proximity to me who had been former patients who had been cured. So these and that was a childhood as a child, but I remember talking to a medical practitioner here in Barbados, where an individual presented himself or herself, I can't remember if it was a male or female, with this rash and so on. And the diagnosis took a while in coming, and you know what the diagnosis was? That person had leprosy. And I had not heard of any case of leprosy in Barbados. Well, as I said, the people I knew were cured. Some of them had damaged fingers and so on because of how the disease unfolded. So the concern really and truly is that we cannot dismiss symptoms, because so many symptoms are, you hear this thing is flu-like and it starts out as a flu and so on. And let me move into what we were planning to talk about tonight. The whole question.
We know, I'll just tell you, I'm going to be only able to touch it. But she's going to continue Friday, okay? All right, I'm just letting them know.
This whole issue of illegal migration, because the arrival of earpiece, and it hurts my heart. Marcia, you know, I'm a Pan-Africanist. It is in my genes. I get it from a grandfather. I got it from a father. It hurts my heart to see that there's a whole level of controversy, opacity, in other words, lack of transparency, a lot of questions around persons who arrived in this country recently on earpiece. I will say this to you now and to the world. I am looking forward to, I was and am looking forward to taking that plane, that flight from Barbados to Lagos and on and onwards into some other part of Africa. But the more I observe and listen to things, the more I am asking myself, what has happened? Who is perhaps exploiting what should be a positive development? In essence, when my ancestors came across here on slave ships, they did not choose to come here. They did not ask to come here. They were kidnapped. They were taken up, bundled up, pushed through the gates of the door of no return. We physically saw that ourselves, and we understood the horrors of that. But what I see, you know, this whole situation is it creates for me I describe it as a sense of deja vu. And let me explain quickly, Marcy, because I know that, as you say, we'll touch on this, we'll come back. One of the first things that I was confronted with as a minister was a situation where a charter flight came into Barbados from Accra, Ghana at the time, I think. But on that charter flight were a number of young people, particularly young men, from both Nigeria and Ghana. And there were some young women, not as many, there were a small number of women on that flight, relatively, in terms of the total number who came. And those young people ended up being stuck here because the charter didn't come back. I heard a lot. In fact, I want to ask, where is the voice of Ambassador Plenipotentiary? I know he likes to use the title, David Commission, Pan-Africanist extraordinaire. on this whole thing. And I noticed I was saying this whole thing.
Come
because,
along.
you know,
Come along, Ambassador.
come along, Commission.
Commission.
Because I have heard him speak over the years. A lot of things I agree with. As I said, I'm a Pan-Africanist at heart. My first visit to Africa was in my very early 20s. And I almost didn't come back, Marcia. You understand what I'm talking about. But seriously, so we came here, my ancestors came here on slave ships. And what I discovered when I interviewed some of those passengers back in 2008, I think it was, I have to go back. I was looking for my note on that charter. Some of them came here having been promised the opportunity for jobs. You remember that last week, it was last week or earlier this week, I shared a video of a young man telling people, promoting this flight and saying that he can find a way to get them here on a one-way ticket.
Yes,
in essence, he was saying he had connections in Barbados.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we have is a situation. I looked at that video with that young lady. I spend a lot of time now, and I have no qualms saying so, watching Nollywood movies. I spend a lot of time. I've actually got my sister into it. I got my sister hooked on them now. My big sister, Margaret, sorry, I'm talking out your business. But in all seriousness, when you watch those movies, and you know, life, that those things imitate life, you know, stories imitate life. But I looked at how that young woman was dressed. She is not your typical Nigerian going on holiday.
Yes.
She looks like an innocent young woman from a village. She looked like she lived and been spending time in Lagos or Abuja or any city in Nigeria. She looks like an innocent young woman who is seeking to improve her circumstances in life. Somebody has promised her an opportunity to come to greener pastures. And it is easier to catch a plane than to cross the desert in Libya or Egypt or wherever, and all of these places, trying to find your way to the Mediterranean to get to some port in Italy and hopefully eventually to England or France or wherever they're, depending on what languages they speak and so on. And so this is what was promised. I heard those stories when I interviewed some of the young people who came in to that flight when I was minister and had to deal with trying to get these people. I mean, there were some people who genuinely thought that they were coming on holiday. I remember one young man whose father was an attorney at law, and he worked in his father's law chambers. And he saw the flight advertised and said, okay, let me come to Barbados and Trinidad, because he was going to visit the two places, you know, based on the duration of time that he was going to be here. And so there are persons here and elsewhere, because somebody can't just sit in Nigeria and say, well, I know of jobs in Barbados, or you can go there. I don't think a person will do that. They probably had connections. Now, think of what happened. This flight came into Barbados with 200 and something passengers, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
There was an actress, a Nollywood actress on the flight. And the flight was supposed to have come. It sounded like you would have been spending a month in Barbados. I don't know if between the arrival of the flight and the expected departure, whether this individual would have traveled in the region, you know, to go to other places, etc. But I want to ask the question of Barbadians. I will ask the question: who in this country is party to what I call modern day slavery, trafficking in human beings? Because if this young lady in this video came with the expectation that she probably would have stayed in a hotel for a day or two because she was going to walk into a job, somebody ripped her off. you shared a suggested price of a flight on the last program. You said that some people might have paid as much as 5,000 US, depending, I guess, on how you traveled. 5,000 US, 10,000 Barbados dollars is 1.8 something million naira. That is, by any stretch of the imagination, a lot of money. Young professionals in some areas do not work for 1,000 US dollars in Nigeria. You can go and calculate it and see they may be working, when you convert it to naira, they may be comfortable, quote unquote, and so on. But that kind of money, you do not have it sitting around. You would have taken your family's life savings, you might have borrowed money, and the expectation is, given the currency exchange differences, you hopefully, if you get a job, you'll be able to pay it back. But if you cannot pay it back because somebody deceived you, you are in deep, deep trouble. And my question is, and I draw a distinction, and this is another distinction that I want to put on the table, Marcia.
Yes.
My understanding back in 2008-9, whenever that happened, because we had an extended period of time trying to get people back out of the country because we couldn't, nobody would give them transit visas to traverse London, Zurich, wherever, countries in Germany, in France, Paris. No, but people said, no, you can't get transit visas for these persons. And so those persons were stuck here. But what I want to make the point is that from all I understood back then, that was a private arrangement where some business people got together in an effort to offer a charter. And once that charter was coming in, people saw it as an opportunity to exploit people, to offer these so-called opportunities. And people got stuck here with no money or not enough money because Barbados, the exchange rate, if 5,000 US is 1.8 million naira, understand that 5,000 US is about 900,000 Barbados dollars. You understand?
Yes.
That's nearly $1 million Barbados dollars. I don't know about you, but I don't know. I don't have that kind of money. And I don't see myself getting it in my lifetime unless somebody send me to buy a lottery ticket or hand me one that it's gonna win. So who is doing this to these people? It was the same thing. In the same way I looked at this young lady, and based on how she is dressed, I assume, I conclude certain things about her financial situation, and I challenge anybody to see it differently. Because if she were in a better off position, she would not be asking for help and so on. The same thing happened with those young people. There were a lot of young men. In fact, I will say this. When we were dealing with that situation, when I was foreign, I can't remember if it was, I think I was still minister in the Prime Minister's office. It was very early in the life of the David Thompson administration. I understood that a couple of the young women, because they were, as I said, were seen on the West Coast prostituting themselves because
the same Africans who came. Yes,
back then a couple of them, they said, because I guess people got desperate. I don't know. So to me that was about trafficking. And I mean,
Miss McLean, stop, man! You gloss over that one too much. So you're saying that after time you saw some of these young women.
What? Let me explain to you. When, as a minister, remember, I was responsible for trying to get a solution to the problems of these people. I would have to go back and find. I was looking, as I said, I came home from an event. And so I tried to find the file, but I remember I took it up from where I had it sometime because I kept notes. Well, I'm a note taker. I kept notes, and we would have had to make some arrangements at Paragon. Some people, that's why I call on his His Excellency, Ambassador Plenipotentiary David Commission, to talk to me because if I remember correctly, he might have been one of the voices criticizing the government when we found ourselves housing these passengers at Paragon. It was not a prison. We had a number of persons and we had to find a way. They were comfortable, they were well fed and so on. And people were highly critical. But what we did very quickly once, because it was not a government initiative, as I remember what I said, this was somebody who sought to create an opportunity for direct flights to Barbados. It was a charter organized by business people, whoever they were, and we can go back and find that out. And one of the things, what happened there was that people came expecting not to leave.
Yes.
Not to leave with little money. So in other words, they were expecting to walk into jobs. And so when you explored with them, they could not even buy meals for themselves. I mean, they were provided with meals and all of that. They were safe. Nobody could exploit them. But I can tell you that by the time, so not everybody presented themselves or could be located immediately. But I can tell you that when we finally were able to organize a charter and we were trying to locate people. I live in St. James. You know where I live.
Yes.
And it was drawn to my attention that there were a couple of young women they found themselves, I don't know who facilitated them, on the West Coast, prostituting themselves. That's what I was told. And
So
I mean, and
brought here for that. They probably were brought here.
probably. I remember standing on the tarmac of the airport, Grantley Adams International Airport, on the night that flight was about to leave. I remember it probably was one of the flight crew came to the door and he came to me and he asked, because they were a little concerned. And I told the person wanted to know the circumstances under which these people were leaving, if they were deportees. I said, look, technically these are people who found themselves stranded in Barbados because they came on a charter that did not return.
Right.
And at its own expense, the government, we had negotiations with the government of Ghana and so on. The government agreed to pay because we could not get transit visas. We agreed to pay for, a flight to take them back home.
Oh, wow.
Because at one point, I was very concerned because I got the impression that the pilots because they were flying a flight that was chartered. And, you what the mechanics of that and so on, they were supposed to come take this plane to Africa, to Accra, et cetera. But when they were on the ground and observed what was happening, they were wondering, what exactly would have been the situation, because they're going to be flying nonstop at the end of the day. And so this was it. But I assured them that the government was seeking to ensure that those persons were able to get back to their homeland safely. They weren't criminals that we were deporting or anything like that, where you probably had to fear that there was going to be some mutiny on the plane or something or the other. These were people who found themselves stranded and who could not make their way home otherwise. And so, as I said, that's why I talked about a sense of deja vu, because clearly what was happening was a situation where people are here. And there were a lot of young people. This is the other thing. There were a lot of young people, young men. Marcia, you've been to Africa more than once. You have seen the way young professionals, persons with money, present themselves versus those who are of humble origin, who are struggling, who want a better life.
trying to,
I
yeah.
mean, it is no rocket science. When I saw the passengers and I asked the question and I talked to them, I remember going and sitting and having a meal with them. And at lunch, I was able to talk to a number of those persons. I had lunch when they had lunch, and I was able to talk to many of them. And then I recognized that in there somewhere were individuals in Barbados or somewhere else in the Caribbean as well, because people were talking about moving out from Barbados elsewhere. Some people probably had ambitions of being close to the United States and hopefully maybe to make that leap at some point. And Marcia, that is one group. And I want to touch on this quickly. I realize 10 o'clock gone.
Yes, 10:06.
There's another phenomenon, and I will stop here because there are allegations of pregnant women on that flight. Now, traditionally, airlines will fly pregnant people up to a certain level of pregnancy. But a person, in other words, so many months pregnant, they probably wouldn't. But the truth is, some people, I remember a classmate of mine, when she had her children, she probably did not need to wear different clothes until the last 2 months of that 9-month period, because she just, So the point I'm making is, well, that may be the case. You may not know that a person is pregnant when they get on the flight, or or the state of advancement or whatever. But here we have an official flight with I didn't see all the pomp and ceremony, because we expressed some concerns that it didn't seem to have everything that you would have expected. But I asked the question, because we can only ask the question, but there's a definite silence. How many, if any, how many pregnant women, if any, were on that flight? And my question is, where are these people now? Where are the people who came in on that flight? Are they staying with friends and family? Are they staying in Airbnb arrangements? Are they staying at hotels? Have some of them traveled around the region to experience the Caribbean because it makes sense to do that? What are the profiles of these people? When you fly into Barbados and you present a passport, it tells you your occupation somewhere in there, if I remember correctly. I will go back and look at my recollection is my passport says something, we're retired something.
Yes. Well,
so in essence, it would be interesting to hear from our immigration officials when these people arrived in Barbados and their travel documents were scrutinized. What are the profiles of those visitors? I don't have. You could be unemployed if you present that. You could be a student. You can be retired. You can be whatever. Once you present that, you can maintain yourself and so on. Those are questions that I was at. Even as a traveling on a diplomatic passport, I can show you stamps in my passport which says that I was not entitled to work in the UK. Because I was looking in my passport the other day and I smiled when I saw that. And I said I wasn't coming looking to work. I was passing through here on my way to some meeting somewhere else, or here on attending a meeting or whatever. The point I'm making is that the process of entering and exiting countries typically is such that we should be aware of who came in. And when you see certain things repeating themselves, they should either, if there are issues, they should alert the public officers who deal with that to something out of the ordinary, if there's such a thing.
Yeah. Well, Miss McLean, this is, so many things. I was trying to take notes. I think tomorrow, this segment, I'm going to try to get the script for it, or call you and get some notes tomorrow, because I feel like we need to dig into this. We're just scratching the surface with this. And Friday nights, if your schedule allows, Dr. Ferdinand has his internet back. If you can come on to that show and let's dig into it a bit more. on Friday. Would really appreciate it. Hope that everybody's internet will be working. All right. God bless you, everybody. Thank you, Miss McLean, for joining us tonight. Thank you to Michelle. Thank you to Andre Worrell. And thank you to everybody who joined. Thank you to Elevate, those wonderful young ladies. The cake came out good, Miss McLean. The cake came out good. And
we showed it on video.
Yes, you could watch it early. Watch it at the beginning.
I will go back and watch it later. But you know, I'm a cake maker, so.
Yes, that's wonderful, wonderful. Well, guys, thank you so much. Dave, I know he wants to, he got far to go tonight. So, so he has to leave. Yes, travel safely. All the best to everybody. Good night, guys. It's been a wonderful, wonderful night. See you on Friday. God bless you. Sleep well. God bless you. Bye-bye.
No more killings, no more killings, no more killings. This nation needs a healing. No more killings, no more killings, no more killings. This nation needs a healing. Newspaper full of names we know. Another mother crying soft and low. Families came at QEH, but it's too late, cause they don't wait. Turn on the news, sad stories again. 3 men gone down at Thunder Bay. When did we trade our love for hate? Another brave blood, another way. This nation needs a healing before another heart stop beating. Put on the guns, let the children play. Organ violence will spread like a plague. This nation needs a healing. Fast and loose it to fill up the brain. One love, one heart, one nation we stand. Heal this land, Lord, heal this land. No more killings, no more killings, no more killings. This nation needs a healing. No more killings, no more killings, no more killings. This nation needs a healing. Tell me how much blood by the state we send before we understand. We killing we homeland. Look in your brother's eyes. You see the pain inside. Don't let anger decide who lives and who dies. We are more than the headlines. We are more than the decline. Barbados, it's time to rise. This nation needs a healing before another heart stop beating. Not only guns, let the children play. Organ violence will spread like a plague. This nation needs a healing. Fast and loose to build up the praying. One love, one heart, one nation we stand. Heal this land, Lord, heal this land. No more killings, no more killings, no more killings. This nation needs a healing. No more killings, no more killings, no more killings. This nation needs a healing. No more killings, no more killings, no more killings. This nation needs a healing. No more killings, no more killings, no more killings. This nation needs a healing.